numbers.
All right, folks, welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Cleveland Moto Podcast. Light 'em up, boys. Oh, that was a good out. We got a whole crew lighting them up. We're at episode number 408.
A little less sparse today.
Yeah, we are. We're up to a nice rounded 6.
And Johnny Mac couldn't join us, so we brought out the good china.
He did. He couldn't join us, and he's out chasing snowflakes.
And it would be one of Tesla's perfect numbers.
Here's one of my favorite things about this is we all talked about on the podcast about how excited John was to go up into northern New York, rent himself a sled, and chase the snow.
Right.
And then it got warm.
It's 70 today.
I know.
And all he got to do is eat
February.
breakfast with a dog.
Oh, did he eat breakfast with the camp dog?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And that sled rental's non-refundable,
Non-refundable?
right?
So he's just sitting there looking at the sled going, all right, hey, dog.
It's yours. There you go.
I think
sir.
he put a deposit on it.
Oh, yeah.
Expected to get it back.
Quads as a backup or something?
I think so. He might have
okay.
got some quad action in it.
There you go.
Yeah. He said he was expecting 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Not to give it, but to get it.
To get it. Right. Yeah. He might have got it. To my immedioso left,
Yeah, Chris Smith.
and to his left,
Steve Sleepy.
and to his left,
Dan Kroenke?
and who's going to be a regular on the podcast now, to his left,
Tom Pennington.
yay, and to his left,
John Meckelfresh.
The intelligent.
I'm going to be a
John
real
Nicholas.
ass tonight. I'm going
he's
to.
gonna fall asleep. He's gonna fall asleep and play with himself. Because normally McElfresh falls asleep and plays with him.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wait,
exactly.
wait. Should
Yeah.
I have introduced myself as John Stafford?
It's John Stafford. Not John Stafford. Right.
Not John Stafford.
Not John Stafford. We have got, so this week's been a lot of stuff, so we're going to cover a lot of shit that went on. But the first thing is a Laurel and Hardy handshake.
Laurel and Hardy handshake.
A Laurel and Hardy handshake for Tom Pennington, who has officially been moved
Yep.
due to the Mechanical Underground Railroad.
Oh yeah, no. That was an impressive endeavor.
It was.
and it was totally like we kept this completely secret for 2 months. Like everybody's like, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just moving some stuff out of my garage.
Relationships are a bitch, folks. Yeah. And so we couldn't just go public with the whole thing straight
Yeah.
out the gate because, people.
People.
And but with a 26-foot U-Haul trailer.
Yep.
With 20-foot box truck.
26-foot box
and
truck.
The 6x12.
Because
6x12
I
trailer.
got a lot of crap.
Man, yeah. My stair climber, I did 88 flights of stairs that particular day, after doing over 20,000 steps per day in Vegas.
Oh yeah, because you went to the big Chinese festival.
So I did the Chinese Electric Bike Emporium.
Chinese Electric Bike Emporium,
AKA
yeah.
the AIM Expo. Yeah. In case, if anybody wants to know what the picture of the industry is, and you go to the AIM Expo, you'd think that within 48 months, every man, woman, and child in America is going to be operating an electric bicycle.
Yep.
And
Just in California, though.
just in California, yeah. And it's the amount of money that was slain by Chinese groups pitching or failing to pitch Chinese electric bicycles.
Right.
I mean, I took pictures of guys sleeping in
I
the
was about
booth
to say, the best picture was that they came all the way over here
Right.
for a motorcycle booth.
to take a nap.
Well, and they only had posters.
It was posters hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
One folding chair in the middle
with the dude sleeping.
with a dude taking a nap. He was taking a $49,000 power nap.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Oof.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, so in case anybody's ever been a motorcycle show or traditional motorcycle show, you have motorcycles and people look at the motorcycles and tell stories about motorcycles they used to have. When you go to an international motorcycle expo, IX show or whatever they call it, motorcycle show. Well, then you have all the manufacturers out there with all their motorcycles that they want you to buy. Right. And
the
then
motorcycles that they're going to make that will never be made.
the ones made out of unicorn farts. Yeah. The vaporware. But then there will be 9 or 10 rows of dream catchers and shoe polish and, hearing aids and whatever. And that's always the thing.
The E-stem's my favorite.
The E-stem, exactly, right.
I like the poor bastard that has to wear the microphone on his head and he's doing the anti-fog shit 375 times a day.
The copper bracelet. If you could hold your arm up, and I can't push your arm down anymore if you're wearing
Your balance
this
is
copper.
improved. Yeah, okay, dude.
I just like the guys that polish the bottom of Pepsi cans for 4
yeah.
days straight.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Look at it, it's like a fucking mirror.
Yeah.
It's like, great,
Ooh,
cool.
yeah.
Next time I got a dull Pepsi can, I'll call you. In the meantime, right, that's not what I'm here for, buddy.
You know what we should do? We should like we're at Mid Ohio next year.
Yeah.
We should find like the shittiest fucking like
The
old
shittiest booth.
CB 300 fucking thing,
oh.
and then take that up and be like, hey, I got something. Polish this fucker.
I got a case. I bought a case of Colonel Brassy.
Oh, that stuff. Yeah.
Colonel
stuff's great.
Brassy.
Yeah.
And Colonel Brassy, that guy sold it to me, and I've seen the guy at shows before, right? But that guy sold it to me by coming up to the trailer in front of my shop with chrome wheels that have never been washed or anything. Yeah. Just salty ass chrome wheels. And he went and he had this completely sketchy looking bottle. And this is when you can't get AMSOIL. That's all this is. Colonel Brassy is for guys that can't get AMSOIL for some, whatever reason.
Plus, they get to say Colonel.
They're on a watch list somewhere.
Right.
And basically all Colonel Brassy is, just to clarify,
Any, light on this side.
it is
that?
wait, can you guys see it? You
Nope.
can't see it. Oh, Let
Nope.
me turn it on. All right.
Can't see shit.
Here it comes. So Colonel Brassy, for those who don't know, Colonel Brassy is basically just water and pumice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just fine white pumice and water. 2
Oh,
ingredients.
there we go.
$16 a bottle, $17 a bottle.
Yeah.
At least it's $1 per ounce.
Yeah.
The guy polished the chrome rims to make them look like brandy new again. About a 2-inch section.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't working real hard.
Right.
But then he came in and he says, well, these are only $21 a bottle. And I went, well, you get my cost down to about $6 a bottle, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, but eventually I bought 24 bottles of Colonel Brassy for $6 a bottle.
Nice.
And I have 21 bottles left.
Yeah.
What they should do is use the pumice from Hawaii, so everybody that buys one is cursed.
Cursed, exactly. That's exactly right. Because you're not allowed to take those things off the island.
People
That's Colonel Brassy.
So instead of just getting rocks
see,
back
this
in the
is-
mail, they'd get Colonel Brassy,
Brassy back.
bottle.
This is an entirely different subset market. We should talk to Momi and yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's what I can let you know real easy. The Colonel Brassy, on the thing it says that it's good for, it says fiberglass, plastic, and porcelain. And it's not telling you that you should use it on these things. It's telling you these are elements that exist on the planet. Because if you use it on
Oh, it's
plastic...
the Dr. Bronner's of polish.
Exactly. If you use it on plastic or you use it on fiberglass,
Not good.
it is going to be hazy forever.
Oh yeah.
You will never get the luster back. So
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, this is safe on plastic. Well, in so much as when you're done, it's still plastic.
Still plastic.
The plastic didn't go away,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not shiny anymore.
Dude, plastic is so hard to fucking polish or do anything with.
Yeah.
When I was redoing that K100, it had good, decent. I still have the fenders.
Yeah.
But I tried to shine them. Dude, I had heat guns out.
can't.
I had chemicals. I had buffing agents, sanding agents.
When you use a heat gun on a KLR 650, that brings the luster back for about 11 minutes.
No, KE100. I'm
No,
talking
no.
1970.
Rotary valve, yeah.
Crud. What is that stuff called?
Well, anyway, so at the AIM Expo, you definitely do get to experience every known wheel contrivance that has batteries anywhere. The fact that place didn't go down in a massive thermal event in the time that we were there is shocking. But
They probably told them they couldn't plug anything in to charge it the
There
entire
you go.
time they were
Yep.
there.
And it was pretty, it's a pretty thing. You're like, you're talking to people and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm so glad you came out to this show. And for those of us who've been doing motorcycle shows for 20 plus years, I would have gotten into that hall and set up in that place. And I would have just been like, well, lay the liquor in hard, friends, because we're not doing shit for 4 days.
Oh yeah.
And I also was the kind of thing where I just would have scattered the business cards out on the table and we'd have gone drinking. We just left the building entirely because that's all you're going to do. Yeah. When I talked to a guy in there and he's like, oh, well, we got a bunch of leads. No, you didn't. You didn't get a bunch of leads. You got a bunch of people that were bored as shit walking around a 4-day event that should have been a 1-day event.
But what happened to it? The AIM in Columbus was fun.
Well, that's that weird thing. So like the AIM Expo used to be Indianapolis and it was
Pretty awesome.
International, the Indie Dealer Expo. It was 9,000 booths, you'd be there for 4 days and couldn't see the whole thing.
Right. It was a party too.
And the one in Columbus was bigger than fuck. And then you also had a bunch of demo rides and test rides and all kinds of stuff. It was open to the general public for a couple of days. That was pretty cool. Right. But this one was more like, wow. It was like, if you would have taken away every Chinese electric bicycle peddler, you'd have been left with 9 booths.
Were any big manufacturers that weren't there?
Well, I mean, Yamaha was there for no fucking reason, because Yamaha Yamaha's not going to be there. Be like, hey guys, we're a company you've never heard of before, and we would like you to sign up with our product. No, Yamaha doesn't fucking need that.
Yeah.
Triumph doesn't need to be there. So be like, hey, have you ever considered adding Triumph to the line of motorcycles you currently sell?
They just wanted to check to see how they could make their product cheaper.
I feel like it's the kind of thing where you say, so the past 3 years, Steve, you own a Suzuki dealership, and you haven't done what? You haven't done any outside training. You haven't done any outside traveling. You haven't done any outside spending. Motherfucker needs some expenses. And I think Triumph also needed some expenses.
Yeah.
Triumph needs to spend some money to offset all the money they've made this year selling everything that you could produce. Triumph, these guys made a killing this year. So now if you can say, oh, we got a $290,000 trade show that we're going to, and we're going to bring out 41 members of our staff, and everybody's going to get, grade A rooms in the,
No.
Hilton Grand Resorts.
Look at it the right way. Guy looked at everybody else and said, Vegas, baby.
Yeah,
and then just loaded the bus.
And I think that it also turned into, we need a table for 41.
Yeah. We got to spend the money.
We got to spend the money down.
Trust me, I know somebody who knows somebody who does that.
Right. You got to spend the money down. So that's what it turned out to. Anyway, we'll get into that in just about a second.
Yeah.
We did announce that the event of the 89 Grand Caravan, that's dumb cars across America.
Yeah.
We're going to start in almost Mexico, and we're going to drive to almost Canada. So if anybody wants to learn more about that, just go to Facebook and type in 89 Grand Caravan, like the Chrysler product.
I'm going to try to get sponsored by my job.
You could.
Yeah.
You should.
I gotta talk to my boss to see if I can take him.
Right, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. So 89 Grand Caravan, it's a banger rally, scavenger hunt. It's that kind of a thing that we do. It goes from Arizona to Glacier National Park, but we're going to have all kinds of silly stuff. If you've ever done a Babe rally or, Street Safari.
Lemons is doing it now too.
Lemons does them, right? 24 Hours of Lemons does these rallies now. It's basically the idea is we want to do a road trip. You want to see some really cool shit.
Yeah.
It makes it more interesting if you're doing it in a not so reliable vehicle. Or we have classes for people with reliable vehicles too. So you could have a $1,000 really bad vehicle that you'll get triple the points for. You could have a $3,000 bad vehicle that you'll get double the points for. Or you could have just a regular vehicle and just get single points. So if you're interested in winning or heroicism or, then what you want to do is you want to have the $1,000 car.
You have to buy the vehicle in Arizona?
No. Y'all fancied $1,000.
So like if you bought it,
Yeah, we did. We turned it up. We used to be 500. Yeah.
so if you bought it in Ohio,
Spending
you'd have
money
to
on
drive it down to
cars.
Arizona and then drive it back up to
Yep.
Glacier and then drive it back to...
So with the Babe Rally historically, with the Babe Rally historically, a lot of guys would.
Dump them at my house. Yes, I know.
Yeah, exactly. Because Tom lived in New Orleans. So a lot of people would buy the car. The Babe Rally started from the Big Apple to the Big Easy, B-A-B-E, Big Apple to Big Easy. And so people would buy cars in the New York area, prepare them meaning vacuum them out.
Yeah.
Right?
No. That's too prepared.
Put tape on them.
Put tape on them.
Put tape on them. And so they would put tape on them. And we had teams from Scotland come over.
Oh, yeah. I got their van.
You got their van. A Dodge Caravan.
Dodge
no less,
Caravan.
right? So these teams would come over and they would buy a $500 car in the New York general area. And then they would drive it the 1,000 miles for the competition and then just abandon it to charity, Tom, when they got to New Orleans. And that's exactly how it worked.
Yeah, they dump them in my house and I distribute them.
And then you would distribute them to the New Orleans.
I still have a 73 Plymouth. By the way, if anybody is looking for a project,
73 Plymouth.
I have a 73 Plymouth four-door, 4 horsemen of the car apocalypse.
Yeah, they dropped it.
They dropped it at the house, and I have never been able to get rid of it.
And the basic idea is that every day, depending on how many teams we have, unlike ones that we've done in the past where there's one group of organizers and they say what all the challenges are going to be, What we're going to do is if there's 10 teams, each team is going to be responsible for 1 day's challenge. So if you hate it, blame your buddy.
Yeah.
Each team is going to have a particular day that they're going to be responsible for making everyone else suffer. And then at the end of it all, we're going to count the points up and give away prizes, right? That's generally what happens. Unlike other events where they gave away money that never actually made it to the competitors, we're going to decide not to even promise to do that.
Right.
Right. We'll just give sponsorships.
We'll just up at Big Lots and buy, duct tape and,
When is this happening?
September 22nd, and it should take 10 to 11 days. So I pre-ran this a couple of years ago, top to or bottom to top, and I did it very gently. And then we're going to arrange that there's at least 2, maybe 3 nights of the adventure where you do have to sleep in your vehicle because we won't have any hotels nearby. So most of the time it's hotel to hotel, hotel to hotel. But there are a couple of places that are just so fucking scenic and just so fucking amazing that it would be a shame to drive 15 miles away from them to sleep in a hotel.
Not get that morning.
And not to get that morning like, oh shit. But also it forces you to kind of to admit that you're camping in your car and you have to bring shit. When you camp in your car, there's stuff you might need. So that makes it a little extra challenging if we're going to have 3 nights or 2 or 3 nights of sleeping in your car. But we won't ever have those nights in a row. We're going to make sure that, you only have to suffer for 1 night and then move on. So that's the way it goes. If you haven't ever seen one before, there's enough information about them. In Europe, they call them banger rallies.
Yep.
So but that's what we're doing. So that's fun. And if anybody wants to sign up, I strongly recommend you look into that. Called 89 Grand Caravan on Facebook.
You're talking about events.
Yes.
Promised Dan.
That's right. We did. We got to talk about that. So last year I went to the Midwest Classic Scooter Rally in Chicago. Yeah. And it was fucking great. The reason that it was fucking great is it's vintage. Vintage. It's not modern.
So if you're a snob.
Yep, exactly. This is where you go. So this is called Queen City Classic. So Queen City Classic, they're doing it April 21st and 22nd that weekend. And what I can tell you, this is Dan Hostick doing this, our good buddy Dan, probably the world's most professional podcast listener.
100%.
100%. Absolutely our favorite podcast listener. But Dan is the host of it this year, and it's basically, if you dig vintage scooters, if you don't own one, this is a good opportunity to be around people that have them, and then they will tell you how to get one.
And then they will tell you how wonderful and great they are.
No, they won't.
And then they won't run because that's what they do is they just sit in the garage and they gather dust.
My 74 Sprint that I bought on the way to the event and got rally asshole because I bought my bike on the way to the event.
Yeah. It ran the whole time, right?
It ended up on the trailer only out of complete lack of enthusiasm on my part.
Ooh.
I was done riding.
They're gonna hate my Cosa.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, man, if the fucking coaster works by April 22nd, game on, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, it's fresh battery. That thing will go.
It'll fire
That's
right
the
up.
Energizer Bunny.
If you want more information, it's queencityclassic.weebly.com because they are cheap and they couldn't just get
Go for it, Weebly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would just say type in Queen City Classic 2023.
that'll
You'll be
find-
good.
you'll
All
find
right,
it.
cool. Excellent. So we... A couple of weeks ago, we were talking all about okay, SSR and QJs and Benellis.
Yeah, so you found out.
And there was like a whole whiteboard on the wall with strings and pins and nails and
Charlie
shit.
from what do you call it?
Always Sunny.
Yeah, he's
So it took a while. It took 3 meetings with 3 different people. But I finally understand what the fuck is going on.
All right, lay it on
Harley
us.
bought him out.
Charlie Button.
As now you know, spill the tea, sir.
No.
All right.
They all bought Harley out. That's the way it works.
Again, the phrase spill the tea, again,
Yeah.
it comes back to haunt me. All right, guys. Here it goes. Okay. So, along about 20 some odd fucking years ago, there's a company started in China that got super duper too big for its holding. Right?
Geely?
Geely. Geely, man. Geely. And Geely is a monster. For people who are not familiar, it's okay. You have Google too. You can look this shit up.
It's understandable you don't know where your Volvo's made.
It's okay. Oh, I wish it was just Volvo time. Oh, my God. Holy shit, does Geely make a lot of stuff. Geely makes some shit. It's almost impossible how much stuff Geely makes, including actually some fucking gorgeous cars.
Yeah.
Some
They all have Volvo badges on the side.
Somebody didn't turn off the air compressor. I hear
Oh,
Clint.
that's my fault.
Okay. So, yes, some of them have Volvo badges on the side
Yeah.
for sure. So, let's talk about that. Geely is $64.21 billion.
Oh, yeah.
And it's owned not by a board, not by shareholders, by one motherfucker. One motherfucker. Li Shufu owns the 7th largest automobile company in China. And you're like, well, in China, well, hold on. $64.21 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They produced 2.2 million cars in 2021. Volvo, Polestar,
Yep.
Proton,
Yep.
Lotus,
Yep.
and now Aston Martin and Renault. And they also have the Terrafugia. And the Terrafugia is the flying car. What the fuck? Yeah, Terrafugia.
Yep.
It is the flying car. And the Terrafugia
Yep.
is a straight up legit flying car. And yeah, I know everybody's seen prototype pictures, but no, they actually have a Terrafugia that flies. It's a legitimately flying car. And there's a picture of it flying. So it's not like it's vaporware like every other electric car or electric motorcycle company in the world. Nope. It's a flying car.
Well, and also it actually resembles an airplane.
When it's on the road, one could easily call it a car. There's one in front of a gas pump, right? And when it's in the air, it is absolutely an airplane. So
Cute, pudgy, like
it's a
cartoon looking.
It is an adorable airplane.
I think I'm rather shocked they use pump gas on that.
Again,
Yeah.
Like, because
with Rotax, all things are possible.
that's
right?
true.
Yeah,
That's
with
true.
Rotax,
I'm sitting here-
water cooled too. So.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, well, because up to a certain level, you still have to worry about freezing and gelling and everything else. The gasoline and pump gas is no good.
Well,
No
I
bueno
wonder.
for that.
I mean, that's probably considered an experimental, almost ultralight.
Oh, yeah.
So they're probably limited to like 10,000. They're not going.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
it
true.
does have the word. If you look very carefully, it does have the word
Experimental on the side.
experimental
yeah.
emblazoned proudly on the door. But yeah, that's a real thing. That's not made up. That's not fakey fake. That's a
learn
thing.
all that stuff to get my drone license.
That's true. That's true.
But anyway,
Self-driving
It's
car
almost
planes.
It's almost ugly enough to be a Burt Rutan. So
There's one for sale on Marketplace right now.
Oh no.
A what?
A
Rutan.
Rutan. Yeah. Oh boy.
It didn't look like it had any wheels though.
Oh well.
On the
of course
landing gear.
No landing
on
gear.
The, on the gear.
You're just not thinking ahead.
Yeah. So anywho, back to the thing. So Geely owns, and this is the smallest thing they own, Terrafugia,
Yeah.
right? So Terrafugia. So Geely owns them. So that's cool. So, if they're not there on the ground. Okay. I thought it was great. I mean, we've known that they've owned Volvo
Oh
forever.
yeah.
They
yeah.
started,
That's been the big joke.
they started by owning Volvo Heavy,
Yeah, yeah.
just the trucks.
Yeah.
And then the trucks wasn't enough. Then they got the cars part of Volvo too. Right. And then they moved into the Lotus thing.
Yeah.
Which we, again,
Still
Lotus.
a shock, but
Shocking. Yeah, it is. Because you think
That's-
Lotus, you think extremely high performance, extremely carbon fiber cutting,
No,
cutting
I
edge.
just think broken down in a garage. But
Okay, also true.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
James Bond, and then
Well,
doesn't. It's like saying, oh, I have an Alfa Romeo. Oh, how long has it not ran?
That's true. And then when you think too about the Lotus,
Yeah.
that envisions pictures of James Bond driving into the water.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is a flying car. So we have a
flying
flying car and a yeah, okay, got it.
submarine.
Check.
It also brings back memories of the Geo Storm with it. Well, it's the Isuzu Impulse that had the tuning by Lotus suspension, which was always my favorite car.
Yep. And so here's the other thing that I think is fun. So they also own a number of electric concerns, including one of my absolute favorites, which is the London Taxi. Wait, you mean the historic classic London
The
Taxi?
Austin FX4, yeah.
Well, guess what? The Austin FX4 has an electric, there's a whole world of electric London taxis.
Yep.
Because they don't want that, gassy, smoggy smog.
Well, yeah.
And these have completely non-functioning radiators that are just there to be quaint and adorable.
Yep.
But these motherfuckers,
Kind of like London. It's just quaint and adorable.
quaint and adorable, all of it. But these things are, in fact, electric cars built by Geely. And in fact, they started their own company called the London Electric Vehicle Company, right? So the a London Electric Vehicle Company, right? Yeah, right? LEVC, right? LEVC. Yeah. But they get all kinds of stimulus money from who? The English government to not pollute up and fuck up London anymore. That's already fucked up.
A taxi cab that you want to try to keep on the road 24 hours a day, do they have interchangeable batteries?
Nope. Huh. They have fast chargers.
They just had 2 cars.
For the entire,
we're done.
For
the entire city of London.
That's it. But no, they do have, and when Oscar and I were there, we saw these things running around everywhere. It was very hard to find a taxi cab that was gasoline powered.
The only thing I can think of is how appropriate it is for a country that decided it no longer wanted to be a part of the EU.
Yes. Yeah.
To give money to a Chinese company to build a car for them for London.
And that they could have built there,
right,
and have always built there,
right. But then you'd have to actually pay people wages, and they don't do that in England.
For anybody who's hip to the whole London thing, you'll know that for the past 20-some goddamn years, the London taxis, all the black cabs, are Nissans. They're all Nissan diesels.
Oh yeah,
all of them are Nissan.
What
diesels.
are they going to do? Buy a BMW? I mean, I'm sorry, what's that called? The Mini. That's right.
Right. It's a London taxi. But they're also doing a utility version of the vehicle, which is not a taxi anymore. It's actually a van. You can use it for your business. So anyway, that's the logo for the London Electric Vehicle Company. It has a hearse on it.
Do they actually make anything
that
in
looks
England?
that looks like a lopsided vagina in the middle of this.
Well, Janice was already taken.
We're not going there. We're not approaching this one. Just let that one go.
That's cool. Then in the motorcycle world, QJ, which is also known as QJ, which is also known as Quangjang, which is also known as Kangjan.
Yeah, which is like my third favorite. After, all right. We're going to stop here right for a second. What is my favorite of all time Chinese motorcycle company?
Of all time?
Of all time. What's the best name you've ever seen on a scooter?
Fuck.
Dong.
Come on.
Dong, man.
No.
What is it? Dong Fang.
Bashan.
Oh god.
Astro Aeronautical Manufacturing.
Right. Yeah.
You can Astro Aeronautical.
Bam. Yeah. Bam.
You cannot get any like Geely and QJ, Kang. You can't beat Bashan Astro Aeronautical.
Astro Aeronautical Manufacturing Company. Well,
do you build flying submarines?
But this is kind of what we're talking to. They have Benelli. They have Keyway. And they have KSR Moto. And KSR Moto actually is a ton of fucking bikes. So KSR Moto builds for everybody. And what we are going to have to take a moment and think about things very generally and accept the fact that the vast majority of your BMW-shaped motorcycles are going to be made in China. Majority.
No, because I think the 310 is a KROMKE, isn't it?
Some of them.
I think so, because I have seen one had the snot beat out of it, and it was still rolling, and I think that was the KROMKE 310.
90. So the story I read was 900 cc's und smaller.
Yeah. So they must have moved over.
All China.
Yeah.
And those vehicles number 18 to 20 to 1 to the vehicles that are sold that are 900 cc's or over.
Yeah.
So for every one big dog, you sell 19 little dogs.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Is
KTM, exact same story.
Well, I mean, because was that the KTM, the shit piling?
The Husqvarna.
Yeah, no, that was the Husqvarna. But they had the KTM version. Those are Bajaj. Which is hysterical.
Depends on what we found out.
I mean, they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible.
On what year.
It depends on what year.
Depends on what year.
They're absolutely horrible.
Right. You don't know the provenance of your vehicle until you see what year it is.
So don't expect anything. It's just like your regular appliances. Anything under $300, anything under 500 cc is going to be made in China or India.
So the assault that we saw in that booth, that thing. I sent you guys over while I was there. I sent you guys over some pictures, and I asked you what that vehicle costs. And I threw it up to our little Facebook, our little text groupie group, and I had said, "Okay, this is a thing. This is a motorcycle," and I asked everyone what these things they thought they costed, and
was that the
boom?
Yeah.
So the boom. Boom had a very large booth there. I mean, a disproportionately large booth for a company that sells nothing over 250 cc's.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now you gave it away.
Okay.
You know why though? Because when the first Grom clone thing hit, the booms were huge.
Was that the Boom Vader? I
Yeah,
think
the
was what-
Boom
yeah.
Vader. That's a hit. So I guarantee you, they're like, they did like whatever $1 million of those things.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're thinking that like, well, our
Oh, it
name
looks
is.
just like the new Buell.
Yeah. But I think they're thinking they're going to rely on that name.
I wonder why.
Not realizing the skids that bought their booms.
Yeah.
know?
So
Yeah.
to put it in just the nicest possible way,
Why?
exactly. I went up to the Boom representatives, and they had a bike there that if I were to take it out of the booth and park it next to a brand new Aprilia Supersport, a 1,000 plus cc motorcycle, you'd look at the two bikes and go like, "Oh shit, you brought two of them," because their photographic representation is so on point, right down to the fake wings, right down to the artificial aero, passive aero that's on the vehicles, right? And they're so good at being China.
Yeah.
They're just so fantastically good at being China. And if they want it to be a CBR 300, it's going to be a CBR 300.
Well,
If they want it to look like an Aprilia RSV Millier, it's going to look like an RSV Millier. And you're not going to be able to know until you're sitting damn near on top of it.
and then the plastic brakes.
You see the triple disc brakes on this one? No. You don't? Well, look at the picture.
Oh, yeah.
And you see that they're radial mounted?
Yeah.
And you see that the forks are upside down?
Yeah.
Okay.
All I see is breakage.
That's all you should see.
Yeah.
But what my point is in this discussion, this horrible, horrible discussion, is if you think that the Chinese situation is horrible now with KTM selling Chinese bikes
Yeah.
and with BMW
Yeah.
selling Chinese bikes and Benelli being nothing but Chinese bikes
Yeah.
and Moto Marini being Chinese bikes, right? And a whole fleet of now tested and Paris-Dakar in Africa that were at the show, 500cc and 450cc bikes. If you think it's bad now, my friends, it is only going to get much, 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 much worse because they are not trying to sell me one motorcycle. When I went into their booth, mind you, everything in their booth has the biggest is a 250cc motor and the smallest is 50cc motor. They have a 125 in between a 200. Their pitch to me was very plain. Everything in their booth was red. All their bikes were red to celebrate the new Chinese Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
Right? Their booth was densely packed. You couldn't fall over in there. It was fucking scarifying. The guy said very simply, a 20-foot container has 20 bikes in it. A 40-foot container has 40 bikes in it. If you order a 40-foot container of these bikes, your per bike cost will be $1,299. And we will put any logos, any graphics, anything you want to have on the bike for that $1,299 price. So if you're not scared of the internet, you can go to Belmont Bikes or any one of these usual scumbags, usually in Texas or Florida.
Yep.
And you can buy these bikes for $28.99. And you see that this one has the blowout sale, the slasher sale going on.
Oh, yeah.
Slasher sale from $32.99 to $28.99. Well, no shit, because the son of a bitch bought the thing at $12.99 if he only bought one container.
Right.
You know what makes me really mad about all this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm old. We're all old enough. I was going to start this with you. I'm old enough, but the reality is we're all old.
We're old enough. Yeah.
We remember when Japan came on the scene. Transistorized radios. Oh gosh, look at this! Look at this Japanese stuff that's starting showing up.
Yeah.
Transistorized radios. Oh gosh, and early on, Japanese quality was not great.
Right.
The early R5, Yamaha R5, and the
and R5's a great example. It's not a great motorcycle.
Exactly, it's not a great motor.
not a
They're
great
great. You think about it, and you're like, oh, you have nostalgia. The Kawasaki H1s, everybody is freaking crazy for it. Well, they don't break. All they do is go fast in a straight line. But if you try to do anything else,
They weren't particularly
fail.
amazing. Yeah. Right.
but no, they were incredibly amazing.
Yeah.
And then they killed you. That's why they're the Widowmaker.
They didn't last.
But
though. They didn't last.
you start looking at all this, and then Japan got better. They reinvested in their technology.
Yep.
They made it better until they literally rule the roost. They are the top of the line. Does not matter what it is. Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki. Those are your brands. China doesn't even bother.
No, I don't
Because
think they do.
know at the end of the day, especially because I know China does different quality. You can go and buy
Right.
quality vehicle. Vespa and Piaggio have been doing it for years. They have a plant there.
Right.
And they can build a quality product.
Yeah.
But then you get into this stuff, which is we're not even going to bother because half you jerks buy stuff at Big Lots and Walmart.
right.
And these are literally the Big Lots and Walmarts of motorcycles.
And that's
You know, the Hawk. That's a Hawk, right? What is it? The Hawk 250?
the Hawk 2,
no, that's
yeah.
the Boom. Yeah.
Right. It's a boom. It's a boom.
It's a boom, but it has a Hawk badge on it or a boom or whatever it is.
This is ultimately where, as a motorcycle consumer,
Yeah.
we're going to have to get to a point where folks like this, this looks like Yamaha R1.
That's a Kawasaki.
Right, Kawasaki
Right,
knows.
that's
right?
the
Yeah,
Kawasaki,
Kawasaki
yeah.
knows. Yeah, exactly. But that's a BD 250-10.
Yeah.
And, this is a bike that it has a 225 cc
Yeah.
motor.
And it's good for 6 months.
And I just don't, for the life of me, these guys were so aggressive. So fucking aggressive. And people like SSR, who used to rep Benelli, and now Benelli's not in their tent anymore. Now SSR is just SSR and QJ. And they're also bringing in Yadi electric scooters. Well, what happened is because Geely owns QJ and Geely owns Keyway, and Benelli is lesser units. So what they did was they put Benelli under. Steve, can you mic him down? No, seriously. Yeah.
You're falling
yeah.
asleep.
So anyway, yeah.
Trust me,
If you
coming
did-
from me, if you're falling asleep, man, do it.
If you did if you did that, and
it's been a long day. Go for
if
it.
you looked at those bikes, and when you look
Yeah.
at the Benelli house,
I'm
the
not gonna hold
Benelli
against
house
you.
is now in the Keyway house. And Keyway, who you've never heard of, trust me,
I have.
we're fucking mutants, okay? We're fucking mutants. But Keyway, who no American has ever should have heard of.
They actually made really good products for a while, though. Like, Keyways were not bad.
The point being,
Yeah. That they're not bad.
who are these fucking guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Keyway. What I'm saying is they have handed over the whole marketing, the whole explosion, it is your job to go get Americans to sit on these bikes.
Yeah.
Did they hand that to SSR? Well, SSR had it. They took it away from them.
To be fair,
Right.
the first, because a couple of years, you're talking about buying a container load of bikes.
Yeah.
Because every time you tell me SSR, I have PTSD.
Yeah, I
I
know.
flash back
I
to the early
understand.
SSRs.
Well, just like older people have flashbacks with Kimco's
Yeah.
and STR. So
Well, yeah,
right.
that's fair.
Because you could deal with
course, then it-
Carter Brothers.
Exactly.
And you could deal with STR, and you could buy a Kimco from the same guy you could buy a Zhongjing kids golf cart or yard cart from, right? And one of them would explode while you were taking it out of the crate, and the other one was a Kimco,
I would, yeah.
right? So that's
Would like to
happened.
find a Cobra Cross again, by the way.
A Cobra Cross, and that was during the era
Yeah.
of STR Motorsports,
Yeah.
which was a go-kart company.
Yep.
I remember that.
A go-kart
Yep.
company, and Carter Brothers, a
Yep.
go-kart company,
Go-kart company.
being the U.S. distributor for Kimco.
Yep.
A Kimco is a company that makes
Oh, they're huge.
QJ look small,
Yeah.
right? So Keyway, which if you're an American person and you do not know about Keyway, it's okay. You're not supposed
It's
to.
fair. That's fair.
Because they haven't had a U.S. distributorship in forever. And I mean, Cosmopolitan Motors might have imported
yeah.
them, right, a
Yeah.
long time ago. But
There's a name.
right, very few people ever imported Keyway in the United States. And to be fair,
To be fair.
to be fair,
This
this company that is monster, and I mean it is monster. It's sold in every goddamn country. But all that being said, they don't have much of a line. They kind of have 6 bikes, and they sell 6 billion of these 6 particular bikes. So when you look at the Keyway lineup, it's not a lot of bikes. In the UK market, they have 1 motorcycle. In the UK market, they have one scooter.
Oh, right. That's the CPI.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the CPI.
CPI.
That's the whole CPI thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they go into a market and they don't spread it too thin. They do not have, hey, like Benelli has got like 8 or 10 bikes.
Right.
Keyway goes into a market, they have 2 or 3 bikes, but they
looks
sell.
like the BMW GS.
It probably is.
I'm going to tell you,
It probably is the 310.
it's probably the 310.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably where BMW is having their 310
Right.
built.
Yeah.
And that's what's alive and well in the world.
Yeah.
So this to a consumer who's going out and buying something right now, I can tell you how many dealers Keyway has set up, and the answer is none.
Mm-hmm.
So if you enjoy having a Benelli or getting parts for your Benelli, I'm no longer a Benelli dealer.
Really?
I'm going to let that sink in for a minute.
They just took it away.
Well,
Oh, no, the other way around. If you
Geely-
can't get parts, there's no sense in doing it.
Geely decided that QJ
Right.
was now going to be their dominant brand in the United States.
Right.
They were going to train us dumb Americans to like the word QJ because it's their premier line.
And because we all think of the old school BMW R32 copy that we've been working on forever, that's just like the Earl. And
Nobody is going to get that joke in this country. Nobody's going to get that joke.
nope.
And I was in the booth with a very angry dealer who sells 2,600 bikes per year. I sell 400.
Yeah.
This guy sells 2,600 bikes per year. He sells over 2,000 bikes for just SSR. And he walked in the booth and he threw his fucking hat down and said, "What the fuck is this QJ shit?" He was pissed. And that conversation that we had around the microphone a couple of weeks ago, where we all said you should just call them all Benellis.
Yeah.
He said those exact words, and he didn't listen to our podcast. The difference is I don't have that kind of firepower. I don't buy enough bikes to make a company change its direction that way.
Right.
But this guy does.
26 will do, yeah.
This guy does.
Well, because old timers, we still see.
What change did he make?
He made no fucking change.
Oh, no.
Because you can't change China.
No.
You can yell at the guys at SSR who are just shit-kicking cowboys from
Yeah.
wherever, right? And those are guys they're just having fun selling bikes, doing what they do. But SSR can't change anything that QJ does or Geely does. Is SSR as big as Volvo? They're not as big as Renault, right? So when you think about that, this idea, this heavy-handed idea that this Chinese company is saying, okay,
That's fucked up.
our premier product, according to us, is QJ. This is where we have the most variety of bikes. And we saw the V-Twin 300 is a very cool bike. The Cafe Racer 500 is a very cool bike, right? They have a lot of really cool bikes, even more so than Benelli has. So since Keyway is its own separate distribution company, since Keyway, the problem is Keyway doesn't have a distribution license and doesn't have a distribution company here in America. They got 2 guys they hired. That's it. And when I went over there and I said, okay, since you're the guy who's in charge of Benelli now, I'm standing in front of you with a wallet that's really thick, and I need to place a 75 bike order today, since you're the guys who are in charge of Benelli. And I'm not going to place a 75 bike order over there with the guys that are selling the SRF 135 because nobody knows the name QJ. So I'm going where my customers are going to recognize the name. I'm going to follow the product that I like, that I've been selling, that people associate with my shop. I'm going to follow that product over here, 97 feet away in a different booth, to you guys, and now please take my money. And they went, well, we're not ready to take orders yet. Well, we got to sign up dealers first. Okay, well, I'm here in the booth. Sign me up as a dealer right now. I have all my credentials. Well, we're not really signed up. Wait a second. Do you have NHTSA? Do you have NHTSA approval yet, or EPA or DOT approval? Oh, no, they don't. So I went back over to the QJ/SSR booth, and I ordered 60 more fucking Benelli TNT 135s from them while they still have them, when they haven't moved the inventory over to the new guys yet. So I cannot rely on Benelli Keyway or Keyway Benelli getting their shit in one pile when I'm in June and July and I need bikes, because we know how many of these I've sold. So I've got 8 or 10 of them in the building now, But we know that those are 8 to 10 are going to last me 2 weeks once the sun shines. So I might as fucking well order 70 of them from the guys who have them right now.
It's hysterical every time I hear the word. Every time I hear you
Yeah.
say Benelli.
Yeah.
Every time I hear you say Benelli, and the TNT 135 is their premier product.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's been around motorcycles
Yeah.
for 25 years,
Yeah.
every time you say Benelli, I'm like, oh, the Benelli Say,
We
and the
all think of a
old
six-cylinder,
Benelli.
We
you
all
know,
think of a
back in the
6-cylinder
day, and
something.
now Benelli's premier product is a 135.
It's not their premier product.
Well,
It's
they
not.
want the bigger bikes to be the premier product, but the reality is, I'm not buying anything over 300cc from China for the next foreseeable future.
I think that all the Benelli TNT 135 is a sideshow. It's just a sideshow.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a bike that they came out with, and unlike everything else that has kind of happened, the QJs are all priced over Hondas. We discussed that last week. We talked about that. And because the Benellis are still going to be priced over Hondas, right? So what happened is it's a butter zone vehicle. If you're selling almost Coca-Cola, if you're selling Pepsi, right? And you're at the
Big Shot,
Travis Tritt concert, and you're selling Pepsi, and they announced that they've officially run out of Coca-Cola, you're going to sell a hell of a lot more Pepsi the second they run out of Coca-Cola. Well, you can't count on one hand the number of people that got Groms delivered to them this year from our local Honda dealers, because our local Honda dealers this year got no Groms. So for every Grom they didn't get, we sold a Benelli TNT 135.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be $800 cheaper.
Yeah.
It had to exist.
It had to exist, yeah.
It existed. So that's what happened.
You know, it's the whole knobby problem.
You can't build a relationship, and you can't say, okay, well, you dealers did so great last year selling all of these Benelli TNTs. And so now this year your opening orders got to be 40 or 30 bikes or 40 bikes. When the reason that we sold all of them was because, honestly, the big guy, the guy that normally sells 4,000 of them, sold 40. So that's, 3,900 bikes that didn't get out into the market. Yeah. And Benelli was there to plug that hole a little bit. So I think that looking into the future, when we are sitting here a month or two from now, and we have an SRF 135 sitting there, and we have the Benelli TNT 135, we know what's going to happen.
I'm going to be sticking Benelli stickers on the side of the tanks.
Yeah, or we're going to do what we always do, and that is we're going to take them all out.
Yeah.
And we're going to take them all out, and we're going to ride them like we stole them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the bike shootout all over again. And at the end of the day, because we know a little too much, what are we going to say? Well, they're the same. And we're going to find some very small differences between them. Very small differences.
And then we're going to scrape all the stickers off of them that say SRF, and we're going to put Benelli stickers on them.
And it could very well be. We know that the pricing is going to be almost the same, right?
Yeah.
So we know the pricing is going to be almost the same. But
I forgot what looked different. Was it the tail?
it's the pipe. So the SRF has a low pipe. The Benelli has a high pipe.
Yeah.
And neither of them matter when you cut them off. So
Right. And the SRF has a chin fairing. So the SRF comes from the factory with a sexy chin fairing. So I really think that, like, looking at that, I know it's silly, but the one takeaway from spending 3 days in this fucking show is that it's not like, oh, there's a lot of China. No, my friends, it's all China.
Yeah.
It's all this booth. If you took away the Chinese product in this booth, you'd be left with 5 Yamahas, 4 KTMs, a couple of MV Agustas.
No. Backtrack, because KTM's still China.
No, the big ones.
Oh, the big ones.
I said 4.
Oh, Taiwan.
I didn't say the 20 that were
Thailand?
there. No, KTMs are Austrian.
Thailand.
The big ones are still Austrian.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think big KTMs are still Austrian.
That's why they suck.
I think big KTMs are still Austrian.
Well, yeah, but then the CAN bus fails and you can't fix it.
Yeah, well, that's all big bikes. Yeah. But I believe that in that booth, I think the MV Agustas, the big ones, I think the MV Agustas, and I think that the KTMs, and I think that Yamahas, not all of them, again, not all of them, just the big ones.
Yeah.
There's a line in the sand, and I think we all know it's that $20,000 line in the sand.
Yeah.
If you have a motorcycle that's around $20,000, it's probably sold in the country of origin that you think is on the side of the gas tank.
Yeah.
If your motorcycle is $10,000 and under, it is probably not.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Triumph.
I
or
always love
whatever.
pulling a tank off a Triumph and seeing the character riding down the side of the thing. I'm like, and I'm seriously going back to this because I'm going to harp on it. Is the difference between my Thruxton from 03 And the new ones is immeasurable because mine's actually really nice.
If you have a Hinckley bike, so we have a Hinckley Triumph over in the front of our shop.
Yeah.
And it's that yellow and orange one over there. And everyone's like, well, that's a Hinckley Triumph. That's a real British Triumph. Whereas the bikes after that were not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, guys. Go over to that bike. Spend 3 minutes looking at it.
And then change the coils.
It's arguably the worst chrome I've seen in my life. The chrome on that thing is crap.
Yeah.
It is evenly
that one-
pitted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that one was mistreated because mine's a 2001 and it doesn't have that problem.
I literally I had a 96 Thunderbird. I literally gave back to the guy I got it from, and it's now a prop for Hollywood, I think.
My
I loved it. When it ran, the triple Thunderbirds
I love
were
mine, man.
amazing. They run great.
Sport is great.
Have all the power of a four cylinder with the torque of a twin.
and the sound is weird.
Oh yeah, no, it's
So
a
weird,
great
man.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
But the problem is, just like every mid '90s, late '90s Triumph, you have to change all the coils and all of the wires and all of the
just what they
thing
are.
just to make it run.
It's just what they are.
And my Thruxton literally was just turnkey push
Turnkey
button
go
ride
ride.
bike.
Turnkey go ride.
Anyway.
So I think for us looking at the market right now, there's going to be a big thing where a good portion of the American buyers are either going to be educated and they're going to
Wait, American buyers educated.
there was though.
That's funny.
If you were a guy buying a motorcycle in 96
Yeah.
to 2005, when every Asian company went to Thailand,
Yeah.
many of my friends that were dyed-in-the-wool motorcycle enthusiasts,
Yeah.
guys that used to say German only.
Yeah.
And those are guys that we all know that there was a certain point in the 80s where you stopped saying German only.
Right.
Because you wanted to ride.
Right.
You wanted to get where you're
Right.
going. And maybe you stopped saying no Italian bikes anymore either. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, no, I mean, I don't work on Ducatis anymore because you can't fix them. It's like fixing a Ferrari 308. You don't
So
do it.
We know that there were world-class motorcycle riders. Round-the-world motorcycle riders. And we know that they went from riding BMWs. They stopped riding BMWs.
Yeah.
And they started riding Kawasaki Concourse.
Yeah.
And they started riding these other bikes.
Well, that's just because they're cheap. I mean, the Concourse will last forever, but it'll vibrate itself to death doing it.
But
It's like it is the
still
KL, it is the
100,000 mile
KLR.
bike.
It is the KLR of touring bikes.
And it's always been made in Japan.
Yeah.
So anybody who is an engineer,
Yeah.
like I said, the motorcycle cognoscenti.
Yeah.
So the motorcycle cognoscenti knows that Kawasaki Concourse was a motorcycle that you could sell your BMW R Series.
Oh, yeah.
Sell your K Series. Get that Kawasaki Concourse, and you could never stop riding it. It would never leave you down. It would never leave you stranded, ever. But then, as these companies started sending more and more of their manufacturing to Thailand, our beloved KLR 650
Yeah.
became a little less reliable.
Because you got the Gen 2,
Yeah.
which, the first, what is it, 09 starts blowing oil out of the factory.
It starts being,
And then it just goes
less
down and
reliable.
down. And now it's fuel injected and made in China.
You
and
get a
so-
1999, you get a
I'm gonna
2000.
get heck for that, by the way, saying
fine.
it's
But that's fine. So I feel like when we have these guys that are out in the market and they're looking at a bike right now,
Yeah.
there's going to be a tough point because if you want to buy a bike that is in its home country of origin, if you want to buy a bike that's, quote, as good as it can be, unfortunately, that leaves you with the over 1,000 cc bikes. You're
Yeah.
going to buy a BMW S1000 RR because that's made in Germany.
And by the way,
Yeah.
don't do that. I mean, I'm a BMW guy. I'm the guy that changes the ABSs. Don't
Yeah.
buy an S1000.
Well, but I've got a lot of friends that like to go 186 miles an hour, and they love that.
Oh, yeah,
bike.
they're great bikes until something goes horribly wrong with it.
They're not keeping them that long.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That is the
Mr.
that is the
650
thing.
IB,
Yeah.
he gets a new one every 18 months. He's not worried about it.
Never buy a used S1000.
No. It was
Never
why-
buy a used BMW.
I was going to say, it's why nobody should ever buy a used K1600 or a K1200.
I have the R1150 GS myself that I got third hand, which I'm dumb enough to be able to fix. So
There's going to be a problem when we're talking about that new bike scene.
new bike smell.
We're talking about the guys that are going out right now to buy motorcycles. Dan bought in that 660 range, which is where I think there's so much good energy right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the text I sent out today to the group, if it's a parallel twin and it's a 500cc, good luck finding one that's not Chinese.
Oh yeah.
No matter whose manufacturer it comes from. And this is what's kind of freaking me out right now is does not matter whose name is on the gas tank.
Yep.
If it's a parallel 550 or 500, it's going to be Chinese.
I love the new Rebels.
Sure.
That parallel Honda. I love it. It's a great little bike.
Yeah.
They're not Japanese. They are not Japanese.
No.
Now they could be Thailand because like the Elite 110s, they're Thailand. And a lot of their stuff.
I think we might have to acknowledge that there's the word assembled in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think assembled in Thailand is probably very accurate.
It's just like assembled in Italy.
Of course. Well, I mean, we've all known this. This has been a thing.
Yeah.
And so I really do think that if you're out buying, especially in that 500 class, I've tried enough 500cc adventure bikes to know that 500 cc's is not enough motor to push around a set of GV boxes. It's not. I mean, I've done it. I've taken them out here and tried to push these bikes around.
What's that? The Honda CT500X? Is that what I'm thinking of?
The CT500X. I have one parked in the showroom right there.
Yeah.
And when my customer brought one in with GV boxes on it and a good sized windshield,
and you can't get the way, you can't push itself down the interstate.
I'm trying to hold 80 miles an hour.
Which is a shame because that's a great motorcycle.
It's a great bike, but it's not meant for 80 miles an hour on the freeway with all that luggage.
No.
So I ride the bike for 150 miles on the freeway. I get 35 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
Because I'm overworking it.
Yeah.
I've got the throttle pinned.
Yep.
And it's just can't overcome the wind resistance of it all, right? It's fucking terrible.
That's why the 700 is a much better deal.
Well, right now what's being offered, right now, the flood that everybody's talking about and today's homework assignment, there's so much energy being put into, oh my God, did you see these new 500cc adventure bikes or these new 500cc whatevers? Guys, I don't want to be a dick, but pump the brakes a little bit. Hold on. I do not like being associated with a guy who says a 500cc is not enough for something. But in this case, a 500cc is definitely not enough to move giant aluminum boxes.
No.
Yeah.
The wind resistance factor, you might need... Dan's bike is a perfect example of more than adequate fucking power. Like, that bike has got just gobs of usable power. And it has no problem carrying itself at 85 miles an hour. That's a good thing, just like a Versys. A Versys is gobs of usable power, has no problem carrying itself at 80 miles an hour. Unfortunately, the stuff that's coming out of China, it's not putting down the same torque or horsepower.
No,
so,
the thing is, though, to be fair, though, those boxes, like even on my Africa Twin, like I go, if I run the boxes on the back, if I really need them, I drop down to like 30 miles to the, compared
the
to like
TRK 502X weighed as much as your Africa Twin.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's
okay.
true. Yeah.
So if a 500cc motorcycle that is being advertised by one of 7 different manufacturers, basically a parallel twin adventure bike.
Yeah.
They're all advertising virtually the same bike, a little bit different plastics here or there. I'm not even going to say whose factory it's coming out of. Who the fuck cares at this point?
Right.
Who the fuck cares? I just showed you that one company can have 26 different fucking names, and they're all the same company. So if they're all the same company, 26 different fucking names, we know that the one thing they all have in common is these bikes all weigh about 450 to 500 pounds, right? And at 450 to 500 pounds, that's just, I mean, that's bonkers. Oh my God. That is, guys, I'm not kidding. That is a legit customer, by the way. That name that's on my, that guy who's calling in here at almost 9 o'clock p.m. to a retail establishment is a legitimate customer. He's a guy that we know.
It was relentless, too.
Well, I mean, we'll see if he calls back. We'll see how relentless he is. So,
how dare you be closed before 10 o'clock on a Thursday?
Well, don't you know it was 64 degrees out today, my man?
Yeah.
But so was anybody else looking at those articles and coming up with anything like any of their take on it?
Wow.
God, man. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he's just going to leave a message. We're just going to let it ring, and he'll leave a message, and then he'll be fine. He's probably one of those guys just like, I just wanted to leave a message anyway. I didn't actually want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to leave a message. So, or he's a guy who knows we do the podcast, and he wants to sneak in without paying his due regards. Yeah. Oh, we've had to do some serious Patreon member management this week.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of Patreon member management.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of guys have tried to punch holes in the whole thing about like, well, I'm at the $20 level. I want to call in on the show. Well, you hold on, settle down. You got to let it marinate a little bit. You got to get that 6-month window in there to make sure we're not all just being fooled by you.
Yeah.
You don't pay your price of admission one time and get to ride all the rides. So we did get a. What's that?
What do you think this is?
Yeah, exactly. This is right. This isn't pay once, ride forever. Anyway, I wonder what's in this box.
Oh, I don't know.
I would say that this is what they in the industry they call a liquor-shaped box.
Yeah, definitely.
It is. And who's it from?
Oh no.
I can't see.
Swanson.
Oh.
All right. So let's open her up. Let's find out what's inside. Let's see what's inside this booze-shaped
you don't have
box.
like divert your face just in case.
No, I think we're okay.
Is it snakes or dildos?
It's not leaking, so it's not a puppy, right? Right? It's not a puppy. But we have gotten a lot. Oh my God! Look at it's packaged in egg crates.
We're gonna have.
Do you know the street value of the eggs that came out of those crates?
Right? That big? Probably ostrich.
Uh-oh. Wait a second. I might have to No, we're good. All right.
That's a funny shaped egg.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
All right.
All right.
Careful.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Dan might like this one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right. There we go.
Uh-oh.
I'll pass that around. That's a little heaven's door for you.
Oh, Lord.
That's a little heaven's door for you.
What's that all about?
And I'll tell you what. When you bring when you send a bottle of that if you send a bottle of that Provenance. All right.
Oh, okay.
Let's go for
Got
it.
it now.
Did you know there's a letter?
I'm getting a glass with ice for drinking.
Okay. Well, here, do you want me to do it? I'll be back.
Hey, Phil and the Cleveland Moto.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Bring me one, too.
Hey, Phil and the
he's
Cleveland
asleep.
Moto Podcast crew. I saw this bourbon and was instantly intrigued when they said it was a collaboration with the Mr. Bob Dylan that it was made.
Yeah, that's
Instantly,
crazy.
I thought of the Cleveland Moto crew. Aged 6 years and not on a boat.
Oh, man. That's not cool.
But I can't read the.
No, you got to say it right. You can read.
No, but I can't read any of the writing because it's unintelligible.
It's written in slur.
It's good. Right.
It's written in mumbles. And at $50 a pop, I wonder how good it is. I drank a lot of bourbon over the years, but I'm no connoisseur. Spelled right.
Connoisseur.
Why not let the experts at Cleveland Moto give it a sip? One of us.
Dude, I haven't seen Dan move that fast.
I know, right?
I know. Yeah. You can't get stoners to move that quick, and he just lit right up, didn't he?
Anybody else? Who else?
Let the experts at Cleveland Moto give it a sip. I don't know if you guys
wait a minute,
have already tried it or not. Dan has probably.
Now, see, I think you've kind of gotten out of here because you put 3 cubes in.
Well, there's a shortage of cubes. We have big cubes in there. Nobody's busted out yet.
Say when.
I hope you all
after
enjoy
this
it.
drink.
I hope you all enjoy it and maybe mention it on a podcast. Let me know if you liked it.
Maybe.
Yeah, yours truly, Dave. And I love how he puts his name in quotations at the bottom. Swanson.
True.
Very nice. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Oh, Dave, that's badass. And he says, P.S. I'm still loving my Liberty 150. He's one of these guys that there are just dudes that are just hardcore rocking their Liberty 150s.
Yeah, but that's a good scooter, man.
Vietnamese, man. Vietnamese scooter with big wheels. It's got a good heart of gold.
Good for the wiggly road.
Too bad John's missing out on this.
John is missing out of that. I'm going to clean my ice off real quick. I got good ice going. Yeah. Don't mind if I do, sir.
I would say that
Pass
he's
that my
probably
way.
lit right now anyway.
Oh, he's probably lit. If he's not on the snow machine, he's probably bombed. Yeah. It is a beautiful bottle, though. God
That
damn
poor
it, that's
dog.
a gorgeous bottle. That poor dog.
Who's giving him the 7 to 12 inches?
Hey.
That's
I hesitate to say the dog.
yeah.
Or the guy with the banjo.
But he's hoping for
Guy with the banjo.
Look at the dude's hoping for 7 to 10 inches of snow, and he's going to end up with 7 to 10 inches of something else. So, right.
Now I've got the informer stuck in my head.
Yes,
Thanks
you do.
a lot.
That's right. 12 inches of snow.
12 inches of snow.
They say me snow kills somebody down the lane. A licky boom boom now. Okay, so we got good bourbon poured. All right, yay, that's nice. I'm gonna go ahead.
Entirely pleasant. It's real mellow.
Very good.
Oh man,
When you get to the end of the glass, you're like, it was really good.
It was really good.
you know it's hard. I mean, yeah, that's nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bottle.
Wow.
That is a pretty bottle. That's a very nice.
That's
so Heaven's Door
shelf-worthy.
straight bourbon. Go ahead.
That's a shelf-worthy bottle.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bottle. It is a very pretty bottle.
When it's empty, it can be filled back up with the Malort bourbon, and no one will be able to sell it.
Now that's the only way you can sell the Malort bourbon.
Exactly.
Is
Put it in a better
aged,
bottle.
if it's aged in a Heaven's Door bottle.
What is that, Blanton's? Why did it pop something?
That's what it does. So they always use that particular bottle.
Oh, yeah, because it is a pretty bottle.
It's a pretty bottle, but now that bottle has become like the signature bottle of like, so since you were going to be buying some Heaven's Door, would you like a $300 bottle instead? Okay. All right. Fair enough.
This is the upsell.
That is a very strong upsell. Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're only in the under $100 range.
Let me peasant.
Let me show you.
Yeah, fish.
I've even seen Blanton's on the shelf in 2 or 3 years.
No, I think I don't think there's.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody seems to have it.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
There's the Taylor out there too.
Oh really?
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm from the land of bourbon. I'm from the land of booze on every shelf. So yeah, I've seen it, but
Yeah,
that's just because I can walk into like the corner store and they've got booze.
I thought they were just selling it. I thought they were literally making it like just to catch up. Like I had a feeling.
Part of that.
I had a feeling that it became so popular that it sold out just about every goddamn where. And then
It is weird. Do you think a lot of times that's propped up by something like some
No.
guys-
You don't know how this works, right?
right.
So Suntory a couple of years ago. This is not a joke. This is not anything out of the Suntory, Japanese,
Right.
bought all of the large distilleries in Bourbon County, Kentucky.
Right.
Okay.
Because the Chinese found out that bourbon, if you drank it, meant wealth. You could afford to buy bourbon. So what they did was they went in. This happened with, I think, champagne too. They went in, bought bourbon, and started selling it to China. Now they were watering it down a little bit because they were thinning it out. But the problem is they ran out of bourbon, and this is why we had a bourbon shortage for a little while after Suntory bought it, because they sold so much to China because they were making so much money that they couldn't sell it to Americans, which is why all the little bourbon distilleries started popping up to kind of fill in the extra. And then suddenly you have all these no-name brand bourbons that are popping up that are like, specialty handcraft. What is it? There's a good $20 bottle of what is it, Cooper Craft or something like that popped up. Really good, really drinkable. Right. But like you had never heard of this brand before.
Yeah, you see a lot of new
ones. It took so long for the bigger distilleries to catch up to selling everything to China and Japan that they actually had to come back and make enough for the American market too. We saw this with I'm gonna say this is gonna sound hysterical. We saw this with Malort too. Once it became popular, is that Malort changed?
Wait, Malort and popular in the same sentence.
You would not believe, overnight, I went from just, Kathy at band camp giving me this stuff and daring me to drink it to like everybody in New Orleans going, oh, this is this drink from Chicago. It's an amazing thing. And I'm like, assholes are drinking Malort.
There was a 6 month or a year period of time where it was just one of those dumb things where you couldn't, like, there was a period in my life where you couldn't buy a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
And there was a period of my life where you couldn't buy a pet rock.
Yeah, no, and
it was
legit.
Rock.
It's legit.
It was a rock in a box.
Yeah.
But you couldn't buy one.
Yeah. It's the first Nintendo. It's
a dumb, stupid, dumb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but
what in
you
a
couldn't
box?
buy one. A rock. It was a rock in a box. A fucking pet rock.
Just like Christmas.
I told my mom.
They do a song about that?
I told Dick in a box, dude. That's a dick in a box. It's a dick in a box. For Father's Day.
There was also a shortage of that.
But I told my mom one year when it hit. I mean, I can't remember what year it was, but I told my mom I wanted a pet rock. And she's like, I went to the store and I couldn't find a pet rock.
Right.
And then I went to the garden and got one and glued googly eyes onto it.
I think my dad was like, at the moment, he's like, I have to get out of this family. I think that might have been the warning sign. Like, but dude, not only did my son want a pet rock, but my wife came back having not been able to purchase one. I mean, that's fucked up.
Dude, the Rubik's Cube, man, what a memory. Because I totally remember like getting out and not getting one. But at the same time, that was my first introduction to Chinese counterfeit shit.
Yeah, my first Rubik's Cube was not spelled Rubik's correctly.
No, dude. Yeah. And like I got it, and you twist it, it just all fell apart.
The stickers fell off mine the first time I used it.
Easier to solve that way.
Yeah. That's how you solve a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, you're right. You just take the stickers off, you put it all back on. My godson, by the way, has figured out the algorithm for them. Like he's on this weird 27-sided Rubik's Cubes. I'm like, dude, you're 13. You should not be doing this. Because they're back in fashion
that was
again.
Luke, our mechanic, Luke, his son, is like 18 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, the speed thing is...
So you can just take it.
The speed thing is ridiculous.
Can just fuck it all up, and you hand it to him, and
but there is
faster
totally,
than you can piss.
There is totally an algorithm to fixing the whole thing. I watched him do it one day, and he said, no, what you have to do is if this is this, and this is this, and this is this, and if you go on YouTube, there's a video on how to fix the thing.
Right.
And I timed him one time, and you're right. It is no time at all.
Terrifying. So one of our podcast listeners, Matthew Schuler, writes in, I hope you and yours are okay in the aftermath of East Palestine. Gotta suck to be downriver of this. And he's right.
Like in band camp?
Yep. So that's a big thing for a lot of us. So
It is straight south.
It is straight south.
A little bit west, they might be okay.
But the good thing is I think the creek is actually fed from the top of the mountain and not down the hill. So we might be good with the skinny dipping this year.
The creek is fine. The creek will be okay. The problem is everything south of Palestine. Palestine. Everything south of there is not going to be okay. And for people who live down there, there's a lot of stuff that's down there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay. They said so on the news.
It's not going to be okay.
Well, what kills me is that
I saw a video of a fish jumping 1.5 feet out of the water.
Oh, yeah. He was trying to get some air.
Right. And that's.
But did you see what the EPA did?
Yeah.
Like the safe level was like 3 micrograms or whatever, and they raised it to like 200
to 400 micrograms.
Yeah, whatever it was.
I lived next to Union Carbide for 27 years, and you cannot tell that I still have a tail.
Yeah. It's been surgically removed.
They did the same thing with the levels of radiation when Fukushima went out.
Yeah.
They kept raising the levels until...
No, it's fine to eat that tuna.
Yeah.
I do not think for a second... this James May, I went back and watched this. Dave Osterday. Dave Osterday is one of our podcast people, and he's been a great supporter to us. And he's like, hey, watch Our Man in Italy. It's a series that they ran on Amazon. It's free if you have an Amazon subscription. And it's James May going around in Italy doing Italian things. He rides a scooter and all that kind of shit. But he does go to the Benelli factory where they're building Benelli shotguns.
I was going to say, wait a minute. That's just not going to make any sense. But the shotgun.
Yeah, the shotguns.
Right, because it's not the same company.
Right. Well, there is a Benelli. That's the thing, though, is just not to throw this thing too far under the bridge.
Right.
And I do have a Benelli. So
my godson's father has one, and I told him, I said flat out, if you ever sell that gun, it's coming to me. Period.
Benelli motorcycles.
It's got the least recoil of a pump shotgun that I've ever shot. So
there is still, this is the deal, is that Benelli motorcycles do not think, and this is where people get confused, that because it is part of Geely, do not think that they made them sell the building in Italy, because they didn't. Right. And this is what's happening now. It's a matter of pride, I think, that these Chinese companies are very happy to have the original architecture, the original building, the original facility there. And they do. And the Benelli factory is very much still in Italy, guys.
Attention, Piaggio.
It's just...
Lake Como was a mistake moving Guzzi.
Well, this is how... Guzzi's still there. We're good.
They're not there.
Yeah, they are.
No,
absolutely.
Lake? No, they moved everything. Como? They moved everything, I
was there, dude.
They did?
Yeah. I walked through the factory.
Oh, I was told everything got moved out. Granted, being the international traveler, I'm not.
It's still there.
Wait, no, I have been out of the country this year.
Yeah.
This is how a virus works.
Yeah.
Virus goes inside, it takes over the DNA, and the outside cells.
Well, the other thing too is the Chinese that own this want to know where they can go when China finally has its next revolution. So
it's very funny.
And that's not an attack. That's actually really
this picture. This picture that I put up here for fun. I think this is a fun one.
I thought they closed Como.
No, Lake Como's still open. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Lake Como's still open. It's actually Mandela del Lario.
Right.
Right. So it's still very much open. So if you look at this picture, this is fun because that motorcycle that's there is a 100% Chinese manufactured motorcycle. 100%. There's not a single part of that motorcycle that is made in Italy. The brakes, the Brembo brakes are made in China, right? So they had to take this motorcycle and ship it.
And flaunt it in front of the Italians that used to have jobs.
They had to ship the motorcycle all the way to Italy so they could park it in front of the factory. And I did look, and yes, they do still build things in the Benelli factory. It's a little different, though, than what you'd expect. Just like they still build things in the Italjet factory.
Just real quick question.
Go ahead.
As a media guy, I'm just wondering. It's not hard to Photoshop a motorcycle onto a building.
No, not at all.
No, it's a matter of bragging rights.
Right.
Look what we did.
This particular image. So I sat on this motorcycle a week ago.
Oh my God, that is the
Imperial. It is.
Didn't CCM sell that?
It is a twin. This is a twin spark plug, 500cc. What I like to call a big thumper.
All right, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about Italian bikes,
yeah,
that is by far
go.
uglier than the Ducati Indiana.
Mm-hmm. It is, and
whoever designed this,
well, this has very strong overtones of the Royal Enfield G5. I mean, there's the rear pannier supports on the back are very strong G5. The split saddle with the rear passenger pad is very much G5. This is what an Italian company thinks a retro 50s or 60s inspired motorcycle should look like. And when
you could put a Vento badge on the side of that, I would not be able to tell the difference.
Well, yeah. Again, there's
another company nobody has heard of in 10 years.
Right. Thank God. So
thank God.
Right. But when you look at a Royal Enfield, if you look at a G5, you'll realize that.
Well, yeah.
That G5 is kind of the same bike.
Yeah. And God, they're horrible.
And it's a single cylinder 500. Yeah. And I don't think that anybody
should ever own one. Yes.
Or anybody wants one.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants to buy that bike.
No, well, not that bike. No. That bike's ugly as hell.
It is.
Like, somebody needs to just go back and go, no. Like, it was an attempt, but it was the wrong attempt. Mm-hmm. It's like Harley trying to make the Sportster desirable.
Well,
but the Enfield, the number of people that I know that want that, want the old Bullets, like, if they can make the Bullet not suck, it'd be perfect.
So this is the Jawa. And...
Wait, now, crap, I'm empty.
This is
we have to stop.
Yeah.
Because this is the most appropriate thing, because you've just brought this up.
Yep.
Our Russian friend who fled who fled the police.
Who majestically fled the police.
Fled the country.
Right, exactly.
His favorite word to say, of course, was Jawa. Because I traded him a 353.
Yeah. Right now, this will come to America. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to distribute it.
This is Chinese too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it looks like the 353 with the Chinese motor.
It does.
Like, that's what the 353 looks like.
Absolutely. They nailed it at its soul.
Yeah.
They hit this bike.
Yeah.
They did actually do a beautiful job.
That bike is well designed.
But it's still not super attractive.
Well, no, pull up a 353.
It's the same thing.
Seriously, pull up a 353.
Yeah. It's not a great looking bike.
It's not great, but it looks the part.
Well, and what you got to remember is
there it is.
The quality of the Jawa 353 was an amazingly high quality bike.
That's true.
It was a really, really high quality bike.
But it does. They literally did make it look like the 353.
Yeah.
Like it's a modern interpretation, a little bit of design.
The engine is way nicer.
Oh
than
yeah,
that bike, so.
but that's it's got this really stupidly long forks.
These were really, really overbuilt. They were really strong bikes. They were people that owned them loved them.
It looked really great in my garage, and I was very happy the day I got rid of it.
People that owned them loved them. I've always
it's a beautiful bike.
Right. I've always been like, oh, okay, great, and I'd have some old white guy tell me what an amazing bike it was. Yeah. And then I would kind of go like, okay, cool, good for you.
The second Hinckley Triumph, I traded for one of those and another scooter of some thing at Barber.
Yeah.
And I got it. It was beautiful. I was just gonna let it sit in the garage and put it. Actually when we got the dining room that never got finished because that's a long story. But that was gonna go in the dining room. It was never going to have to run.
Yeah, somebody spec'd the wrong forks for this bike. Yeah. And then when you look at the modern version...
It looks exactly the same.
It does. And it even has the thing where the forks go up into the headlight nacelle at the perfect, the forks are not any wider than the headlight nacelle.
There was a design student that went, no, I want to build this right.
So I do think that we have a little bit, and I saw this at the AIM Expo, is there's definitely a little bit of this...
Oh, yeah.
This going on. And the guy asked me, he goes, how many of these would you buy? And I said, Chris Smith wouldn't buy that bike. I mean, no, I mean, look, you had a C5. You had a Royal Enfield C5.
Oh, I like the C5.
Right. You love that C5, and it's a great looking bike. And you also have a classic GS 450. And you also have a Janus, right?
I don't hate that. Do you hate that?
I don't like this bike. Yeah.
There is so much.
I don't like it for the same reason I don't like this bike.
Well,
because the triangle-shaped side panels.
No.
The hot dog tin underneath it.
As a mechanic,
the gas tank's at the wrong angle.
The gas tank's at the wrong angle. As a mechanic, there's a reason why I hate the Bullet, and it's because it's made of garbage.
It is garbage. There's no doubt.
The new, and don't get me wrong, I love the new infields.
But this is what they had to.
Not a good bike.
This is what they had to work with.
Right.
But then this is what they gave us, and I'm very happy they gave us this.
Right.
Because the C5 is fucking beautiful. And if you chill your fucking cock out and you ride it slowly the way you're meant to, it will last forever.
Well, it's like somebody if
you ride it at 85 miles an hour on the freeway, pieces are going to jump out.
When I bought my first Bajaj, when I got the Bajaj Legend, there's a little the speedometer had colors.
It's only meant to go 35.
It is made to go 35 miles an hour. You go first gear to fourth gear, and you get 175 miles to the gallon. Yeah. And the rest of us idiots tried to ride them at 65 miles an hour and blew them up.
I saw this motorcycle in their booth, and they had one in black and they had one in burgundy. And my argument was the one that was burgundy, you could see too many pieces.
Yeah.
Because every square inch of the bike has a little bolt or a little piece of hardware or a little something holding something on something else. Yep. And
maybe that's it. Maybe China needs to adopt all of the industrial design kids that we keep pumping out of art school here that can't get jobs. We just ship them all to China and then they design stuff.
I don't think our consumers are going to buy these. I just don't. I don't think they're going
to. Muffler, it's like between the foot peg.
You're just going to cut that thing off anyway. Don't worry about that part. Or the mud guard in the back.
But like with all of these, I feel like the market's already too crowded for the number of people that actually buy motorcycles.
Yeah, for the angular, fucking shit.
I mean, I get it.
To be fair, if it's a third of the cost of Ducati and the same quality because Ducatis are crap, then it's going to work.
No, but Ducatis can be crap the same way that Ferraris don't have to be reliable.
Right.
Like nobody ever bought a Ferrari because of its reliability, right? It's,
some of the new ones people are saying are pretty nice.
Are they?
So, I don't know.
I don't know what company's building Ferrari these days, but yeah.
No, not Ferrari.
No, they're out of
Ducati.
Ducati?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Texas. They're still owned by a securities firm or something like that, aren't they?
I don't know. Last time I bought Coke from them, they didn't fucking call me back.
Right.
Ducati?
Right.
So, no, they're owned by Volkswagens. They're owned by the Germans.
Oh, are they owned by... Okay, no, that makes more sense now.
They're owned by the Germans.
So they bought it for the Texas guys.
Yeah, TPG hasn't had them for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, TPG, a.k.a. Pepsi,
I know.
Britney Spears.
Actually, shoot, I know a guy at Volkswagen now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this... Long story. I feel like where we might be headed, there's going to be a lot of attractive nuisances out there. A whole lot of attractive nuisances.
It's going to be now the best part.
It's a Velar X, baby.
Now the best part is you're going to be the guy that has to look at the guy with the thing in the back of the truck they bought off of Alibaba and go, no, because I'm just going to be in the back with the door closed. Yeah,
it's been happening for years.
Wait, look in the background. Look at the background. Is that a wildfire?
No. So in the background.
Yeah.
No,
See
that's a Vespa.
No.
That's a ring ding.
Oh, I think
that's a ring ding.
No. We've said it wrong because you got two of them in the back. It's a Vesper.
I think it's a Vesper. Yeah, I think it is a Vesper. I think that's a Vesper.
You've seen this, right?
Did you guys see it?
The late show cover?
I wasn't wrong. It says ring ding.
It
says www.ringding.cz. Okay, so now I'm sorry, I got to do this because it's too strokey stroke. So www.ringding.cz. All right, let's see what this is.
The
Czechoslovakian.
Czech Republic. Yeah. Yeah. Please let there be something there. No. But that means it's available.
Uh-oh.
And we could have ringding.cz. Hey, what's your website called? Yeah, you go on, you just land on there, and that's all it does.
Yeah.
There's nothing else on the website. There's just a media player.
That
when
is
you land on it, just goes.
That is the most Art Deco.
Yeah,
that would
Eastern...
go viral if you did that, dude. Yeah.
I'd buy a billboard in Vegas that just said www.ringding.cz, and people be like, "What does it mean?" And they do it in their car, and they'd just be like, "Ah!"
It's like what is the frog thing from the early?
That's the annoying frog.
Yeah,
annoying
but
frog.
Dude, seriously, the
annoying frog was literally how that started. That whole stupid annoying frog thing. How that started was there was one of the very first memes ever was a German fella explaining what his motorcycle sounded like. And so they had a camera on him. It was like a flip phone camera. It was like, 8-bit. Yeah. And they're pointing it at this guy, and he goes, meine Motorrad ist ring ding 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 ding. And that soundbite got turned into that fucking frog.
That frog.
The annoying frog. And our friend Sean Stevens probably does my favorite version of that because he just commits. He fully commits to it. So he's like, my bike's called a ham sandwich. Why? Oh, because the little projector beam headlights look like little olives on the ham sandwich. Oh, he's fucking great. And he's one of my other friends. He's stoned all the time. But this picture that I'm holding up, this is the Jawa. Great. And this is the Jawa 353. But it has a Velarex sidecar.
Yeah.
And Velarex sidecars are, God, beautiful Art Deco pieces. They really are. And yeah, every once in a while, one will pop up for less than $3,000, and you're like, oh,
well, because they're all plastic. You look at it, you're like, oh God, that's amazing. It's stamped steel. No, it's plastic, but it's just covered in like 3 layers of paint.
They're made like the early ones were made with a chop gun.
Yeah.
So the early ones are fiberglass, and they're really strong. And then the later ones, when the true Eastern Bloc kind of shittiness set in, the true like Warsaw Pact, like we're saving money.
Yeah,
they're like a cast plastic.
Yeah,
and they're pretty bad. They crack up.
Well, that's the plastic one, the black plastic ones. You always see them in the black plastic.
Yeah, black plastic
with the chrome. Well, it's not really chrome.
There's nothing shiny about them.
The dull metal that holds them together in the middle.
It's like a weird pot metal. Yeah, pot metal thing. But you'd think that when you see where the seam is, that they'd open up somehow, and they don't open.
They don't.
That's just a shape.
That just holds them together.
Yeah, but that's what they are. And that's probably right there. That's probably, listen to Miss Emma. She does a couple of weeks ago on Misfits. She did a beautiful explanation of the Jawa company and like how it started and how they sort of ended up on the wrong side of the wall.
Yeah.
And the whole world could have been a whole lot different.
Yeah.
With a different placement to the wall.
I'm looking at this going, one of the bikes that's still in New Orleans is my Simpson Schwal. Yeah. And it, again, beautiful bike.
That's what I thought Oscar's bike was when I saw it in the back of that fucking truck. I totally thought for sure it was a Simpson Schwal. And
I think it's the Simpson KR51 or something like that.
Oh my God.
And it's a beautiful bike that is absolutely horrible.
It's just not
there it is.
It's not a good bike. It does appear in a lot of.
They are infamous. Like people love these things. I mean, I like mine. It's great. It looks beautiful.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
So in Hellboy, when they're at the training center, the kid that helps out is riding one of these, which tells you that it was probably shot in Romania or Bulgaria or one of the places.
Or he's just some stupid dork in America that has one, like me.
Yeah, this is generally, if you travel around Europe enough, Eastern Europe, you'll see a lot of this guy. There's a lot of this guy.
Yep,
this guy right here.
It is a wonderfully horrible. And I actually read it. I had it.
You need a place to stay tonight.
I had mine at Barber a couple of years ago, and I rode around Barber. It was really fun. It's a 2-speed, low and lower. But I had mine at Barber, and this guy who had grown up in Eastern Europe, he says, "You don't understand. This is the thing. Is you made it as a kid, just like a Cushman here with all the newspaper throwers. You made it if you could afford one." Now, he said the problem was the brakes didn't work and the wheels weren't round.
Yeah, no.
It didn't matter. It was just like a Bajaj. It literally just existed, but it would walk itself down the road, and it wouldn't stop.
Somewhere I know on the internet is a picture of Jackie Van Ham, our favorite celebrity.
Yeah.
But she owns a Simpson Schwalbe.
Oh, so there's more than one in the United States.
That's exactly it. And the fact that she owns a Simpson Schwalbe to me is always like, I thought I could like you. I thought we could, like, why do you own arguably one of the 3 dumbest mopeds ever built? I
almost take offense at that.
It's almost at a Velorex like motor over the front wheel with a roller that runs the front tire, right? Yeah. Because the Velarexes are pretty.
No. Solex.
Velasolex. Yeah, Velasolex. And the Velasolex is generally agreed upon to be somewhat of a hater.
No, they're horrible. I mean, you get the handle that you have to throw to get the thing in gear, and then God help you.
Just pedal it. Just give up your dignity. When we were kids, we had the AMF Roachmasters.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just...
I had that bitch.
Did you have that?
The orange one. Fuck yeah. Oh, God. I told you guys that. I put like 1,000 million miles on it in my backyard.
God.
And then when it got wet, you'd have to push it out of the woods.
That was why. That was the trick. Yeah. Is the second the roller got wet, it became
it was just
not even a usable bike. Not even a good bike.
No.
A really
well, now you have to carry around the weight of the engine.
No, but like, and then of course, like being the genius I was, if you overinflated the tire, it got better traction until it didn't.
Whereas the kid in my neighborhoods would take like and cut sideways stripes on their tires because it had hard rubber tires.
Yeah.
It didn't these things in the late generations, they came with hard, no air in them rubber tires. No. That's a good ride.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, if you did what we did and you oversprung it so it pushed into the tire, that's what I meant. Like it ate the tire.
God.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have a slick, and then once it got through, it was like dual compound. So once you got through the top rubber, then it was just fucking foam, dude. Like,
so I did.
So talking about this, the equivalent of this, there's a company called Staton, Staton. Staton. Yeah, that they take Honda GX Weed Eater motors. And they have this, not kidding, GX 35s and GX 50s, made in Thailand.
Right.
And they have this kit that actually is a friction drive over the rear wheel of your bicycle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I know this because my crazy yard guy.
Yeah.
Long story, but you know it.
Right.
He had one when I first met him, and then I bought him one. He came up with the money, and it does the same thing as the Solex, where it's a friction drive over the wheel, and it just eats the freaking wheel up because it's got the friction drive, but it's a steel rod instead of the rubber mount.
Oh, wow.
So it just eats the tire up.
Eats whatever tire. So I did give out in homework. Did anybody read this article?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is
this the truck driver?
This is crazy. This is an absolutely crazy story. Apparently, we've got a truck driver, and a truck driver that on his motorcycle ends up running over. And we're gonna wrap it that way first. We're just gonna deliver the news is that a truck driver ran over 7 motorcyclists, killing them.
But not on his motor. You said on his.
No. He was
driving a truck.
Came over a hill and was like he was on way over his time limit or something.
Well, so it turns out that Vladimir Zukovsky, 27 years old, of West Springfield, Massachusetts. He was acquitted. Now, this is what's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's bonkers. I'm going to say again that he was acquitted, so we do kind of understand way this paid out. He had in his system at the time of the crash, he had heroin, he had fentanyl, and he had cocaine. This truck driver.
Yeah, a little 8-balling with a little sidecar.
I did say CDL, right? Mm-hmm. Truck driver. Sure. A man hauling thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of payload for a living.
Right.
Our professional's not here.
Had those three things in his system.
Yeah.
At the time of the crash. Mm-hmm. However, he was acquitted. Now, to me, just being me, the second you put on your hat that says I'm a truck driver, and you have those 3 drugs in your system, and you're behind the wheel of a truck, It's very hard to say that you're innocent of anything that happened after that, right? Because I would think that any one of our truck drivers wouldn't be more sideways than I've ever been on a Saturday night when they're hauling freight. Right. So we have that. Okay. This truck driver was jailed. I mean, so from the time of the crash until the indictment or until the arraignment, the verdict, he was in jail. He sat in jail for this. It turns out that despite him being completely wrecked, okay, it turns out that the lead biker, Albert Woody Matza Jr., was left of center.
Oh.
So the motorcyclist,
well, because
was left of center.
Depending on how new saying this, depending on how new his truck is, and I know where this is going. Depending on how new his truck is, it's going to have a camera. If it's going to have a camera, it's going to have a computer, and the logistics and everything else is literally going to tell you exactly where that bike was.
There were no shortage of fucking witnesses.
Oh, and because
7 people died.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't die. The other members of the club.
Yeah.
So where were you going? The first guy was left of center.
So
he was left of center.
Lead operator. So the lead operator was left of center. And when you do come across somebody who's left of center, it's going to be a tough one, because if you're driving your truck or whatever and somebody's coming at you left of center, you are going to swerve, right? You're not just going to fucking.
Oh, I thought he came from behind him.
No. It was oncoming traffic.
Oh,
but again, depending on how new that guy's rig is, determines how much equipment he has in the truck.
I don't care if the truck's a 1957 auto car.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
if it's a historical load of watermelons, it doesn't matter. You're still in your right lane of traffic. Right. You're in your right lane of traffic.
Yeah.
And the motorcyclist is coming at you head on. I don't think I'm enough man. I don't think I'm brave enough. I don't think I'm strong enough to just hold the wheel and not swerve. And let the motorcyclist go into the Gorilla Mike truck. I don't think I can do that.
Right.
I think I'm going to swerve. Now, I probably am not going to swerve to the right if there's a tree or a guardrail or a cliff. Right. Probably not going to swerve to the right. I am probably going to do the thing that none of us want to admit. I'm probably going to swerve left. Right. Because we have a motorcycle coming right at our fucking windshield. I think maybe at that point, like if you throw a punch at me, I'm going to swerve. I'm going to move my head. Right. And likewise, if I come over a hill and I see you're coming at me in my lane, I think instinctively I'm probably going to swerve. Well, he did swerve, but he missed the first rider and he didn't miss the following 7 riders. So by swerving to miss the first rider, he took out for the 7 riders.
I kind of want to know how new that truck, because knowing who I know and how I know, I kind of want to know how new that truck is.
I don't think,
because that's going to tell you how much, like legitimately how much technology is in that truck, and is going to tell you how much was recorded.
People are really upset.
Well, yeah.
So the motorcycle club thinks this guy should be shot. They think this guy should be murdered because he involuntarily homicided 7 of their friends. When you put drugs in the picture, that's no longer involuntary homicide.
But they're a motorcycle gang.
So when you take away, when you add the drug thing, then that turns it into more than just vehicular manslaughter. It turns it into some sort of.
Well, it's negligent homicide at that point.
It's not negligent.
But
the second you add drugs into a situation, then it's a felony. So then it's no longer, you don't get any negligence anymore. The second you're operating a vehicle under the influence of drugs or drugs of abuse, we don't get to say the word negligent anymore because you went looking for a fight. And so this is a bad thing. I'm curious about this as a motorcyclist, because as a motorcyclist, the guy who killed 7 motorcyclists was acquitted. Now he is being deported to Ukraine because I'm sure he's here under some sort of visa.
Straight to the Donbass too.
Probably. Right? He's here under some sort of a visa, and whatever sort of a visa he's on, he's not going to be able to be operating legally in the United States when he's got a drug record, right? At all. You get a drug record, you're out.
This is no longer a CDL situation.
I'm very, like, this phrase, In March 2020, ICE paused repatriation flights to Ukraine after the country was attacked by Russia. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security also announced that it was authorizing Ukrainians for a temporary protected status for 18 months. He's being deported, but he has temporary protected status because he's Ukrainian. Right. This is a very, very dicey thing. This is more than just...
So what you're saying is because he has been a truck driver...
Yeah.
Is we should deport him, but we should deport him with a Patriot missile system truck.
Right. Yeah, the odds are.
Well, you know how to drive this, so you drive this, and you put it over there.
If you look into this, this guy had several arrests for DUI and driving under intox that just hadn't caught up with him yet.
Yeah,
in the U.S.
In the U.S. Yeah, so he had several infractions that were all hanging out, but he hadn't been convicted of any of them yet. So he's out there driving a truck stoned to the fucking walls. That's the first thing, is shame on that for even allowing a situation to exist where we've got a truck driver on our roads that has, 5 or 6 felonies waiting for him as soon as he goes to court, right? But the court cases get put off the way they do. But this is insane But a judge dismissed 8 charges related to whether he was impaired. And his attorneys blamed the lead biker Albert Woody Matza Jr., saying he was drunk and not looking where he was going when he lost control of his motorcycle and slid in front of Zukovsky's truck.
That's probably true.
Again, honestly, that sounds like a factual statement.
Yeah, totally.
I can picture, I think all of us have been there where you're kind of like looking back at the rest of the guys in the group and you're kind of like, hey, so where are you guys going to be? And then...
No, I was going to say, I thought me and you witnessed that at like Ohio Bike Week last year when like all the guys were leaving and just like... just...
I believe that's the story that we can tell around the campfire of like Bill Marar and some other folks trying to get through an intersection. Right. And the one guy looks back to find out where the rest of the crew is and straight up runs into the rest of the crew. Right? You're like, oh, we're under where those guys are. Smash, smash, smash. Oh, it turns out they're 6 feet in front of me. Right? That's one of those, as a motorcyclist who still has a lot of strange fears about like the 18-wheeler that's in my lane kind of thing, like the truck that's not where the truck is supposed to be. And many times my worst crash, like the crash that happened on the street and didn't happen on the racetrack, that happened on the street, is because there was a car using my lane.
Oh, he was not even in a rig. He was in a Dodge pickup.
It was a commercial vehicle though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a fifth wheel Dodge,
Dodge
Ram pickup. Right. Like I'm when you say truck, I'm like, oh, it was in a national
it's a dually with
it's just a dually with an extra.
With an extra, yeah.
No, there's no tech in that. It's just Dodge.
My worst crash was because I went around a turn, as we do all the time. You're leaning.
Now we're going this conversation.
Yeah, we're leaning and we're just kind of looking ahead and we're seeing where we are. And then we look away for a second, or we look at where we're going.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's just a car there. Mm-hmm. The problem is I'm going 35. The car's going 35. And we're coming at each other at 70 miles an hour. And I mean, I did everything I could. It's very hard to tell your brain to go to the right when you're looking at a car that's to your left.
Yeah. No.
And just where I was in this left-hand turn, I can't not look at the car.
Target fixation is real.
Well, we all know that.
Yeah.
But I did my best to push myself out in the lane so that I did not hit the car head on. And I didn't hit the car head on. We sideswiped. But we sideswiped so much that my tires were already against the right curb. So, I got between like the foot that existed between his left side of his car and the curb. Mm-hmm. But we glanced, we hit each other at 75 on a glancing blow. And it pushed me well off the motorcycle and the full high side action and all the things. Many, many broken bones. Terrible, terrible crash. Awful crash. And it was one of those ones where you go very high in the air and you come down on your collarbone. You blow up all those things. And that wasn't on the racetrack. I've had crashes on the racetrack. Those are terrible.
Yeah. Wait, was it you or... No, it was you that hit Hodge.
I did run over Hodge's head. Yeah.
God, it dented the hell out of the leg shield. And it did not hurt Hodge that we could tell.
And he refused to not wear the helmet.
Yeah.
After that, he went out on the track with that same helmet.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, you've had a crash.
No.
No. Never had a crash.
Never been down.
Never had a crash. Never had a crash. Never ever touched the ground on a motorcycle.
Huh.
What do you have a worst crash? I mean, I've had more than one. I've had 15. You've not. I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. You can pass.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make you talk about it. I'm not going to make you talk about it.
I'll pass.
I think it was just a low side anyway. We don't even talk about low sides.
It was in February.
That's a girl's
in the
crash.
snow.
In the snow. Yeah.
You were riding your snowmobile, right?
Well, I thought it was a snowmobile after the seventh shot of tequila that afternoon.
Basically, you were warmed up, so you thought the roads would be warmed up too. Oh man! Was that your worst crash though?
It was my only crash.
That's your only fucking crash?
Yeah.
The fucking horseshoe you got up your ass.
I'll show you.
Oh my god!
Oh, shit, dude.
What the fuck is your only crash? I mean, it had a lot of impact spiritually. I understand that, but
Yeah.
like as far as being like super duper send you to hospital, pins in your body, you didn't get any of that.
No, I got to enjoy
Oh my god!
Rocky River Municipal.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Court system.
So that's fucking bizarre. I really thought you had to have had 3 or 4 crashes because you have a 1981 motorcycle back there. You know?
I've never put that down.
Oh, stop talking, dude.
My God, man.
Now you've jinxed the man.
I know.
You have jinxed
But you
him.
got to remember though.
But you ride big ass motorcycles. Your California that's a 1400cc big motorcycle.
Well,
Yeah. All right.
I
all right.
mean,
I'm not going to talk you into a crash.
I'm not a runner like you are, though.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You guys, when everybody went down to North Carolina, I was the last one in the line by a quarter mile. I don't run as fast.
You're just
as
not running that hard.
I'm pretty cautious.
I've slowed down dramatically. It's been I've slowed down a lot.
Okay, next.
Next. All
ahead,
right,
Steve.
Sleepy.
I slowed down too, right?
Sleepy, what's your worst crash?
Actually, it was my first crash was sucky. But this way, well, it was kind of a weird thing. So on prom night in high school, right?
Oh boy.
So my senior year, I told you guys I had saved up and I bought a Honda Hurricane.
2 up to prom?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
He's wearing a skirt.
No, that would have meant I had a date. No, come on. What are you talking about? So I had worked so hard to get this Honda Hurricane, and I had it, and I was the man.
Yeah.
And I thought I was finally going to get some chicks now because I had this sweet ass bike.
And he had this Vanilla Ice outfit.
What year did you graduate? What year was
89.
homecoming? 89.
89. So I had my 87 Honda Hurricane.
Yeah, all right.
Got it for $3,100 at Sills, I think.
Might have
Back
been a
then.
little teal in your tuxedo.
Yeah.
No, it was white and no.
With the ruffles and the
No. So
Continue.
I was riding. I rode to school and everything
Yeah.
like that. And of course, I didn't have a date because nobody liked me and I was a weirdo. So I went to work that night at Fun and Stuff. I was the go-kart track manager. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was on my way and I pull into the parking lot. I'm doing like 7 to 10 miles an hour, just kind of cruising through the parking lot, trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Ocean Pacific shirt. Because, you had to wear, I wasn't allowed to wear what I'd usually wear. You had to wear something like festive. To work,
To work at Fun and Stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but, and so I'm going,
God.
and a lady totally didn't look at all and like backed up at like 10 miles an hour.
Oh.
And when I tell you that she didn't go in front of me, she did like a Dumb and Dumber movie, like hit like the bike on my leg on the side. So I was moving like this,
Right.
and she just went, poof. And as you know, the Honda Hurricane was or about the same time the PC800. They wanted to wrap everything in plastic.
Yeah.
There was no motor showing.
There was no
anywhere on that motorcycle.
No. It was just a fucking piece of plastic
It's
Tupperware.
just a slab.
And the fucking bike bounced, then it bounced on the other side, and then it slid for a ridiculous amount of time. Like it almost like self-lubricated itself and just continued to slide through the parking lot.
Fucking hell, man.
And then I bounced off 2 or 3 cars and landed on this thing. And so I'm laying there, and the boss or whatever, the 20-year-old, the older guy that was working at the time.
The boss.
Yeah, the boss. He comes over and starts yelling at me to stop embarrassing myself in front of the customers and go get on the fucking track. So,
No fucking way.
Oh, yeah, dude.
What happened to the fucking
Stop embarrassing
driver?
yourself.
The lady came up. She said, "My car's fine. I'm leaving." She's
Fuck
like,
you.
Oh, shit.
Fuck you.
So my whole bike got fucked up. I got all kinds of fucked up. I almost got fired.
Which is crazy. You almost got fired.
Yeah, because I was fucking around I had told you once and I've told you twice, don't be fucking around in the parking lot.
No.
Oh,
She's leaving the scene of an accident. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, but when you're 17 years old, everything
doesn't matter.
Somebody's yelling at you, and
All right. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever get her license? Let's
No,
track her
nothing
fucking
happened.
ass down.
No, nothing happened.
Let's go find her.
I didn't even know.
And also, I couldn't call my insurance
damn it.
because I was already paying like $94 million to have a sport bike.
But it wasn't your fault.
Well, no,
but it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
I was a
insurance company don't care.
18-year-old kid with the sport bike in 1989 when they just came out. It was like I think my bike payment was like $105 a month, and the insurance was like $700 a month or something. It was like
it's not that far off.
You must have lived in New Orleans too.
And then I fixed the bike, got it back, and then 2 months later got arrested for fleeing and evading and resisting arrest and the whole night.
Yeah, we heard that.
Was it that fast? Yeah. Was it that soon?
Oh yeah.
Down there in the metro parks?
Yeah, and then I lost my license. Man. Yeah, it was
you were a little kid.
I know. It was
You were just a little kid.
He was a punk. He was a punk.
I was a bastard child.
Oh my God. I actually thought when you've told that story before, Steve, I've thought you were in your mid-20s when that happened.
No, that was I was just
stupid in his mid-20s, but this is
I mean, we all know that boys don't become humans until about 25.
40.
When they towed my bike the same fucking day, I jumped in the Firebird that I had bought because I was also awesome. And then I got a ticket in that for speeding on the way to Fun and Stuff. On the same
I was going to say,
time.
I think it's hilarious that you worked the go-kart track at Fun and Stuff.
Fuck yeah, and I took
He was the manager of the go-kart.
Saturdays at 11, if you were my boy, to come up there and the fucking governors are off. Dude, those cars would be going 50 miles an hour with the fucking mufflers. They'd be glowing cherry fucking red in the back the whole way.
I think that is just... That's hilarious.
I did get
fired. That is like a
fired.
Bill Murray Caddyshack kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, the funniest though, and this is, swear to God, I got fired one day because finally the guys were fucking around so hard on the track going that fast.
They flipped one?
They fucking rail slid one and they're broken in half. This fucking whole thing is broken in half.
Nice.
Oh man, that to me. I think that is just comedy gold.
Oh yeah,
you were the manager at the go-kart track.
Fuck yeah, dude, fun and stuff, man.
Jesus Christ, and the fact you had a sport bike.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Well, see,
did you sell just like little tiny pinner joints to the kids?
No.
I
worked.
They come up and just selling these little pinners for $5.
No, dude, I worked 2 jobs. I worked landscaping. That was what I made. Dude, I made $10 an hour back then. Landscaping.
Yeah,
that was fucking real money back there.
Kind of makes sense that he's at Summit now, doesn't it?
It does. It actually does. You just took a greaseball break.
Yeah,
you did take a I get older and they stay the same. You just took a greaseball break. Oh man, that's a riot. KROMKE, what's your worst crash?
I've also only had one.
Okay.
Not that long ago, 2011.
Uh-oh.
A fucking stupid low speed, low side.
Mm-hmm.
Just turning like 3 blocks from home.
Yeah.
Turning left, the car pulled up to the stop sign.
Yeah.
Only had the America for like a month. So
Yeah.
I kind of went wide and leaned hard.
Yeah.
And just low sided and slid into the curb.
Oh, in the intersection.
Like 15 miles an hour.
Oh shit.
Really slow. I broke 5 ribs.
What?
Collarbone.
The fuck?
And I ended up getting life flighted to Metro Health.
Oh, so you won?
Because I bruised my lungs so bad.
Did he neglect to tell us this before?
Rally asshole band camp?
I thought that's
unless
new.
Tom has been in a helicopter, you win.
Oh yeah, no, he's good. He is good.
A helicopter.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Fuck.
This is
They would not let me sit up and look out the window. They strap me to a board.
This is Rally asshole at band camp right here.
How do you get?
Yeah, wow, life flighted.
This is low side of band camp.
insurance.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. What did that cost you?
Oh, the helicopter?
The helicopter ride, yeah.
I think out of pocket it was only like $1,500 or $2,000, but it was like a $20,000.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, this is not
if you had to
cheap.
pay cash.
This is not
20
cheap.
grand,
Cash.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm light.
Can you break down a $40,000 bill?
They're like, hey, Grandma, before we land, we need 20 grand. Can't take her back, boy.
Take her back, drop her off.
All the ATMs on the way to.
Oh yeah.
It was funny too because I told Diane, I'm like, I called her up. So
Yeah.
3 blocks from home. She comes up there. I'm like, call Harley Bob. and have him ride my motorcycle home.
Of course.
So she does, and he comes over, but he's not thinking like he's like 8-10 beers into his evening, and the police are there.
Wait a second.
This just keeps getting better.
Literally, his phone a friend is Harley Bob.
This keeps getting better.
Bob is good though. He can talk.
Bob is absolutely
everybody loves him. They let him get on the bike.
Of course they did. Of course they did. They met him, and in 30 seconds, they were like, they weren't, has he been drinking? They're like, we love this guy.
He worked for the Parma school system. He knows all the Parma cops.
Well, they couldn't understand the accent.
Allegedly.
Oh my God, you're not wrong. Look, Harley Bob has his own manufactured accent. I swear to God, that accent is from nowhere.
Well, didn't he grow up in Boston?
Rhode Island.
No, Rhode Island, yeah.
Okay.
But it's Rhode Island, but there's also this weird Appalachia. Yeah. There's this weird Florida.
You've said it wrong.
I know. Oh.
No, it's Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. That could be it too.
Yeah, it's got a little of that.
Or maybe he's just permanently Dean Martin.
That could be too.
He might just have that. So anyway, yeah. Because Bob does give, like, the second you talk to Bob, you're just like, check this guy out.
Yeah.
And then a half an hour later, you're like, I can't leave. I can't walk away.
Well, not only that, but
because he keeps talking.
And he drinks an inordinate, how do you say
inordinate
amount of booze.
Those are on the Christmas tree, Chris.
Yeah.
Beer.
He drinks beer.
Whatever.
He's a beer drinker.
But you don't see him without it. Ever.
Again.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this.
He's got something he's trying to accomplish.
And I love the fact that he was your phone a friend. That he was your phone a friend to move my motorcycle out of the intersection.
Well, he's only like a mile.
Surrounded by police. Bob had to walk into that situation like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That is a cat in a room full of wolves right there.
Yeah, no,
it's a very charming cat.
You win. You're good.
Come on.
That's pretty great.
No.
This helicopter ride.
This is. I mean, we always joke every year about band camp. As long as you're not life flighted out, you're fine.
In a helicopter, you're fine.
As long as you're not in a helicopter,
I can imagine Dan gets to the hospital. Some orderly comes into the hospital room and says, if you're not getting taped up, we need you to go back and move your motorcycle at the intersection. The guy is sent to move the motorcycle. He's worse than you are.
I was not drinking that night either.
Oh, sure.
So
that's his story. What was that's the story he's sticking to it.
Were you on dialysis after Lent or what? I mean,
No,
how did those stars align?
I don't know why. I don't
know why.
I had one beer, and it was like 2 hours early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's again.
Honest, honey. I had one beer.
I had
one beer
2 hours ago. I was barely drinking. I had barely even been. Now, Tom, you crashed.
Get the ferrets out there and move the bike.
There's a bunch. I mean, what I do for a living.
Yeah.
You put a bike in the pavement. It's just what it is. Now there are two, but let's see. The better.
Tom, as I said at the beginning, I have certain rules.
Yeah.
When I say worst.
Yeah.
It can only be one.
Well, that's I've never really
he's not
had.
Gonna do it. You know he's not going to do it.
Never really had a bad. Knock wood. Yeah. I've never really had a bad crash, and I'm thankful for this. But okay, so I have the khaki green Stella 150. Now this bike ended up being sold to the guy who provided for it's CSI New Orleans. So if you've ever seen CSI New Orleans, there's a green Stella. That was my bike. Okay. So I've had this thing. I get it all set up the way I want to. It's great. I am trucking home as fast as I can go. Now in New Orleans, Broad kind of does this weird little swoop around. There's a double. It's like the only S curve in the city of New Orleans.
Do you have any Pizzelles left?
There's a whole box. Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
4 boxes left.
Yeah. So there's this S curve at like Broad right by the pump station. And I am just digging this thing as hard as I am into it full throttle, just whacking this thing. And I come around the first turn and it's great. And I am whacking around the second turn. And there's this asshole riding a bicycle, crossing Broad, right at the car wash. Now, if anybody's ever been in New Orleans, they're like, oh my God, right by the pump station. This is where, the King Cake station has been. I know y'all don't get this shit.
Where Fred dropped his wallet 4 years ago.
Zony Mash is right there now. It's the old hubcap king.
We still
The hubcap.
I know. Y'all don't know this.
There you go.
Y'all don't know this.
That narrows it down.
I'm whacking this thing as hard as I can around this fucking S-turn, and there's this poor guy in the middle of the road riding a bicycle. Now, he gets this bad idea. Now, normally, if you're, oh God, there's traffic coming, I'm going to continue crossing the road as fast as I can. No. He loops back around and crosses back in my path. I am ducking to the right. I am in full tuck, full honk, trying to get around this guy to the right, like leaning into it. And sure enough, he comes right back and just whacks right into me.
Yeah. And that's it.
And we're both on the ground. Now,
in New York City, you would have got up and you'd have been like,
now I'm wearing...
Good.
You good?
I'm wearing, this is one of the few times I wear my Joe Rocket.
Yeah.
I've got my helmet on, my Joe Rocket on. I am good. I literally hit the ground, bounce back up. I'm unscathed. But as soon as I see this guy on his bicycle, like I hit the ground, bounce it, hit the kill switch, bounce back up like I'm a rabbit, and immediately see him and I go, don't move. Do not get up. I just hit you at 35 miles an hour on my bike. You do not get up. And the guy behind me just so happened to be a nurse.
Okay. Hey,
so he gets out. We stabilize the guy. Sure enough, the cops show up, and the ambulance shows up and take him off, and off he fucks.
Right. Yeah. Is that?
And I'm lucky. Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with it.
And I have at the worst, and my worst crashes, I've like bruised my ankle.
Dude,
so I have been lucky.
That's
a good story.
And I'm not gonna lie, I've been lucky. But this guy, this poor guy, broken collarbone. He got super fucked up.
The rule is very simple. The energy goes somewhere.
Have you ever been sabotaged?
Uh-oh.
I didn't know we were doing worse. I thought we were doing first. So my worst.
All right, wait a minute.
This is a real quick
never
one.
come back around.
My worst, my first 900 RR, I got really good at stoppies.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I sucked at wheelies, but I could stop you like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I'd get it to be about like 100 miles an hour. I'd start feathering it, get it up. I could roll for like 500 feet, whatever. But I had a Scott steering dampener, and I had it set on 4, and I had the other one cranked, I don't know, about halfway up.
Right. Yeah.
Well, a game that these guys started to play is they'd fucking turn your steering dampener all the way down.
All the way off. Yep.
Nobody ever fucked with me. I never thought about it. So we all left downtown, about 300 of us. Yep. We got on to 2. We're heading toward Menor because we used to go to the Menor thing and whatever, and all the wheelies. And so I go and I race in front of everybody to go do this thing. And I go and as soon as the bike came up, it didn't even give me a chance to think.
Just folded in half.
Flipped off.
Yeah.
Broke my collarbone, three ribs, my knee, my foot, my fingers.
How much time we got? What's our time right now?
2 hours.
2 hours.
But yeah, so it sucked. So that was, but it was all because I got sabotaged by somebody.
I'm gonna read.
Wait, what was Hoff's?
I'm gonna read one.
Hoff fell off the chair.
Message, one Patreon tech tip question.
Let's go.
Because it's specifically aimed at Grumpy Sewer Guy, who's been sleeping for the past hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Hi there. I'm the other listener of the podcast, which gives me hope that you'd be good enough to address me for some kinky motorcycle shit, because he's our other listener.
He's a metrosexual.
All right. I have a Yamaha Turbo Seika sitting in my workshop that has fired its last shot in anger some 20 plus years ago. Yamaha Turbo Seika. I cut its fuel pump open. Never do that. He specifically says never do that. And it looked pristine inside, except for the lower part that was submerged in condensed water for said 20 plus years. Oh, God. So fuel pumps on Turbo Seika is just a very standard Mitsubishi pump. There's nothing weird about it. And it has died the death of rust. So I really need a new pump, and that's where it gets tricky. There is one on eBay in good condition, but I can't seem to buy it. I'm from Switzerland.
Oh.
The seller will not deliver there. Since there were only 15 of these bikes sold in Switzerland, parts are scarce to say the least. I've been looking for one of these things for 3 fucking years now, which brings me to you. Worst case scenario, would you be willing to buy the part and send it to a country barely larger than Lake Erie in exchange for what it costs plus some liquor money up front? I'm still waiting for the seller to answer my request to make the exception, but time is not on my side. There are enough vampires with weird-ass bikes just like mine, and to be honest, I've already dumped too much cash into this pile of shit to back out. Maurice, chairman of the European Grumpy Sewer Guy fan club, allegedly. Allegedly.
And he woke up for this.
Maurice in Switzerland is chairman of the Grumpy Sewer Guy fan club.
Wow.
In
Are you
Switzerland.
fucking kidding me?
No shit. And since Hoffert, every single podcast, Steve makes some comment about like, I'm pissing off that one guy in Switzerland or whatever.
Yeah.
This is finally the guy in Switzerland.
This is the one guy in Switzerland.
This
is Sweden anyway. But
this is Maurice, chairman of the European Grumpy Sewer Guy fan club, allegedly.
I feel very neutral about that.
Oh man!
Nah, that was good.
Yeah, right. So, but to help him, so he's got a Yamaha Turbo Seika, and so
I'm sorry.
Well, if it's a standard fuel pump, why does it have to be the one from a Seika?
Well, the question is whether or not it actually has, because the pump itself is fine, but you whatever the hell brings up the pressure is fine. But if it's not got the entire assembly and it's bad, I could see wanting the entire assembly.
Hoffert's got one on his shelf in his garage.
So I was going to say.
And he's rebuilt it already.
Right.
Yeah.
So
twice.
the XJ650, so that particular turbo.
Let's get him one.
Well, but here's the thing about
is it external?
Patreon money.
So here's the deal with these things. They're not. So it's an in the tank pump. So as he was saying, the reason that his world went to shit was because most of the pump was up in the air and it was fine. But his fuel had been totally, condensation full of water. And so the bottom of that
ethanol.
pump,
Well, that's fair.
yeah, so the bottom of the pump. Now, to give you an idea how precious these are, because this isn't the first time I've had to look for one of these motherfuckers. This is a shitty one, and it's $384. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So when everyone says, and I know I'm guilty of it too, I did make the mistake to tell somebody once, just buy a standard Dodge fuel pump. They're exactly what they are. They look exactly like that thing you saw in the picture. And we would all look at that and we'd go, yes, it's an external fuel pump and that's what they are, right? It is not. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not what it is. The fuel pump in these things is a particularly evil fucking fuel pump.
Oh, it's an Aprilia Ditec
Something
fuel
like
pump.
that. Yeah, something like that. It's just
this does not look complicated.
A vicious, nasty, weird fuel pump, and they're not easy to find. They're not easy to get. But when you do find them, they are an atrocious amount of money. Like he says, $300 or $400. Right. So $300 or $400 for a unknown good, might be good, might not be good. They're a problem, and they really are. They really are a bad
is it a
part.
Pressure situation, or
they're just his is rotted out. So his just said bottom.
As far as the pump itself goes. Well, Quantum, you can buy anything from Quantum these days.
You could also buy from Summit. So Summit has a good selection of adjustable fuel pumps. So with Summit Racing, you can get a fuel pump and then you can dial it to whatever you need it to be. And so honestly,
come on, Sitch.
So here's what I'm saying for Maurice. What you may want to consider doing is you may want to consider going outside of the tank. So you may want to consider getting out of the gas tank. So rather than being a submersed pump and a pump that's inside the gas tank, the way it was built to begin with.
It's not like the pump is not part of a bung that holds gas in. It just goes in.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's the question is does it seal the tank like
yeah, I would do exactly that. I would seal up the tank. I would use whatever method I needed to. So I would just be working with, remove the parts inside the tank that are bad. Remove the fuel pump parts that are not doing anything for anybody. Get rid of them.
I really need to look at
and
this
just
thing.
let the fuel go in, and then put an external fuel pump on. But I can tell you, I've used that Summit, the one that you guys have there. I've used that on a bunch of different bikes, and whether it needs to be 40 psi or 120 psi, that son of a bitch works great. So.
And we can get you 50 off on that.
Yeah, we know a guy. You, what is it? You sleepy 50.
It's that is one of those items, and I did not know that in Switzerland, right, that they only sold 15 of those bikes. Yeah. Like that's a crazy thing because that's not a bike that was that rare over here. It's rare, but it's not super duper rare.
So I'll trade you a transfer case for my Jeep.
Yes. So this is the pump in question. And so this is our friends over at Rice Paddy. So Rice Paddy looks like Rice Paddy might even have one. But,
retirement sale.
Yeah, it's that time.
Uh-oh.
But if you look at this, you notice where nowhere on here does it say this item works. It just says it's out of stock.
How many wires are coming out of it?
I think 3. I think it's a 3-wire, if I'm not mistaken.
So is it a 2-speed or is that a feedback wire?
I think it's a feedback wire. Yeah, I think when you look at these, I think when you look at these, I think that there's going to be a power wire and I think there's going to be a feedback wire on these. I think that's the way they're set up. I'm more than likely to be wrong. I did not look at a wiring diagram on them.
Is there a spec on the pressure coming out of it?
That's why I said you go with the Summit Racing one and just do it externally. Do it outside of the tank.
But you'd have to put a relay on it, wouldn't you? To give you a signal from that third wire.
Mm-hmm, you would. And that's not going to work. Yeah, ultimately, I personally, I just don't feel like that's going to be the answer. But
no, I'm looking at the one on eBay.
So he should send the booze ahead of time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. just get right out in front of it.
I'm only seeing 2 wires on the one on.
You seeing 2 wires
on eBay?
Yeah, I'm seeing 2 wires. I'm seeing 2 wires on this. This isn't for an XJ. This pump. I thought this pump might be a good alternative.
Oh, the Partzilla one. That's the first one I popped
2-wire.
up. But no, I'm seeing the one on eBay.
Yeah.
And that looks more like a Honda Shadow.
It does.
Yeah. This one on eBay just shows 2 wires, positive and negative, and doesn't show anything that seals the tanks. There's not like a sending unit or anything.
I don't think it's chassis grounded. I hope it's not chassis.
No. It looks like it's just standard 2-wire. But if it's not, if it feet like a Harley, for example, I've just done a bunch of Harley tanks. So if it's just got one in and then one out through the bung in the tank.
Yeah.
Depending on what the pressure you need, any internal pump's going to do this. As long as you can stabilize it.
Our answer was always historically with any fuel pump that's inside the gas tank, you just go to the car dealer, you go to AutoZone, and you get a Mitsubishi pump.
Right.
It goes inside the gas tank.
Because we all at the beginning of, because Sean Stevens is the only one that's ever put an electric fuel pump on him. Well, since we talked about him earlier, ever put an electric pump on a Vespa.
Right. Because you couldn't fix the gravity problem with a 30 millimeter. So. That's so when you're looking at it, I mean, I feel you in your desire to get the actual real genuine article. I totally appreciate that.
Yeah. I feel you, dog.
I do feel you, dog.
We got you.
I do feel you, dog.
I can use a BMW K series pump for that off Euro Moto for $50-$60.
Yeah. Yep.
That's weird. It's a rubber. I mean, you wouldn't think they would have a rubber strap inside a tank.
Look at this.
Oh, God.
I think it's external. The more that I'm looking at, but look at the piece of shit. Look at what they're selling for $233. That is garbage.
That is no.
And they're trying to get $233 for that. That tells you this stuff's as rare as rocking horse shit.
Yeah, but
because I mean, that is a piece of trash.
They're looking for rubes. Because this is, Quantum will sell you a pump and it is $60.
I wonder why these people are getting $259 for these then.
Maybe they're not even getting that.
Maybe they're not.
Maybe it's just sitting
there. Maybe they're not. That's true.
Dude, if you go to forums and you type in fucking like replacement for this, this is not the first person in the world that can't find this fucking pump.
No.
There's got to be a forum of some dude somewhere who found out, and there's a model number. Okay, I found it. It's a weird Volvo one.
Well, look, right there. That's probably a Quantum kit right there or something close to it. That $25, $30
These are generally.
Well, actually, the blue one right there on the end.
This one here.
The $90 on the other side.
This one here.
Yeah, that Quantum.
Yeah.
I buy those all the time. Like somebody the other day was like, "Oh, I spent $300, $400 on Vespa GT250 pumps." It's like, no, we bought the Quantum and just rebuild the
literally.
Yeah, drop it in.
Any of those in the tank built into the fuel sending units, they're literally just plastic. You can pry them apart.
Yeah.
Ditch the pump out of the middle.
Yeah.
Slide in a Mitsubishi unit for $20 or $30. You're done.
Yeah. This is the Quantum sells pumps for everything and everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you see the number of bags they have there for the filter.
Yeah.
They literally, I had a...
and honestly, what you're paying for is the fuel pressure regulator.
Right.
Because the pump is a generic $20 Chinese pump.
No, it just pumps whatever you want.
But the pressure regulator
right there, that arrow over the blue right there, that's what you want.
Yep. That's exactly right. And that's why this kit is so invaluable, because this kit can do 50 different motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is everybody's, I got to have the specific one. No, you don't.
No, you don't. It absolutely don't.
Yeah.
This has been, Piaggio had a bunch of recalls. for the 500 cc's and everything else. And every single one of them, when we saw that those pumps were $500 a piece, we were like, and we're taking the $500 and we're putting it in our pocket and we're going to rebuild the pump and put the pump back.
Well, I told somebody the other day, they were like, I can't, X9 500.
Yep,
they
X9
could
500.
not find a pump
matter.
for an X9 500. So just buy the Quantum.
It's just
it's
rebuild
$60, rebuild it.
When you see this shaped article, congratulations, my friend. You have entered 1980 Dodge Omni level of sophistication. This is
but it's not fuel injected?
What's that?
Well, no, that is fuel injection.
This is
that is for fuel injection.
And that'll go up to like 30 psi or something?
Oh no, it'll pump. The only thing I've never been able to find a fuel pump like this for.
So the guy should just bring his bike in.
Yeah.
Pennington can fix it.
Oh yeah.
Take it back to Switzerland.
I honestly, looking at this pump,
ship me the tank. I'll fix it.
There you go.
Ship me the tank. Just bring it in.
I heard you.
Send a bottle of booze. What's Switzerland known for?
Fuel pump's not in the tank though.
No.
I don't think it is.
Oh.
I don't think it
Well,
is.
if they have a rubber strap, if it was in the, if that's a metal strap, it might be.
Well, the
BMW
BMW K series is actually embedded in a rubber bung and shoved into the back of the tank.
This isn't.
But that's not it.
No, but that doesn't look like it would be because it would be.
No, there's a. I briefly laid my eyes upon a
If
schematic.
it's external, then fuck it.
A schematic.
Yamaha. What is it? The Yamaha Big Bear that has this well.
There you go. That's it. That's all you need to see right there.
Where is it?
Right there, boys.
I don't see.
You will.
Gas tank. Oh yeah, no, it's gravity fed into the pump. I see the pump, and it's got a return line.
See the fuel pump?
Yeah.
So it's got a pressure regulator.
Pressure regulator secondary.
Yep.
Nope. That's that. No, I don't even need. I know the Summit fuel pump you're talking about. That'll do it.
Yeah, of course it will. A literally pressure regulated adjustable Summit fuel pump will do this job because this is just feeding.
Yep.
It's just feeding a weak flow into a CV carb. And that's all this is.
Oh, it's just Cleveland Moto on-air service department.
Oh, believe me.
We're available.
This right here.
Dude, has he not explained how big of a nerd I am?
Well,
he has.
If you look at this, humble listener, if you're looking at your screen right now, I brought it up on the big screen for you. So this is supposedly your fuel diagram for your fuel system diagram for your motorcycle. And the most important component in it, obviously, is the pressure
regulator. Yeah.
And then the second most important is the one that you've got a problem with, and that's the fuel pump. And for that, I say find your way to Summit Racing Equipment and go to Summit Racing and literally get their adjustable fuel pump.
There's like a Saab. I want to say it's a Saab fuel pump that we used early on for Vespas that had the 30 millimeter problem. Because it was a low pressure,
little tiny pump.
Yeah. It's not a big one.
Well, the
Volvos have two. They have the high volume pump in the tank
and low volume pump.
Yeah, there was a low volume pump on like Volvos or Saabs or something.
High volume pump in the tank and the low volume pump for the
and
injection.
Then the nice thing about the Summit Racing fuel pump, adjustable fuel pump, is it's never going to break. No. It is legitimately going to last you.
And it'll add 5
horsepower. Add 5 HP.
You'll get a sticker.
Oh, you're going to get a sticker. That's right.
We're
You're going to get a Summit
about
Racing sticker.
You put the 30 millimeter carburetor on top of the Vespa.
Be the only person in Switzerland with a Summit Racing sticker.
Right.
Probably not. Dude, they've been around for so long.
You had to have a low pressure pump to push it into it. Otherwise, because he's using CV, we just push the whole.
We get requests, I found out at work, for people looking for the first catalog. Like there's guys that collect
if you leave a fuel tap on the Vespa, it'll fill.
They're the guys that also came in and looked at the KZ1000s you were selling.
Yeah, those are the same guys, man. Those are the same cats.
Yeah.
One of our neighbor friends gave us, you remember that? I had the little stash of magazines I brought out here before from 1965.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he came by the house with some more stuff, and he gave me a full fold-out Honda dealer brochure.
Oh, wow.
It folds like 6 times. So it ends up being a poster this big, and it's all the Hondas from 1965.
Sick.
And then he gave me another one that's all the Hondas from 66.
Cool.
He gave me one that's all the Yamahas from 65. And color, like bright, vivid colors.
Well, it starts out, and it's all the nice people you meet on a Honda, because it's the old advertisement. And then by you hit the 70s, it's all the strippers you meet on a Honda.
Yeah, the BSA one was already looking a little randy. For 1965... The girls' skirts were getting pretty high in the BSA ads. And
what do we got to do to sell you a motorcycle?
The BSA ads were pretty racy. So I'll bring that stuff in so you guys take a look at it. Dr. Waters has taken the opportunity to grab some of them and just instantly went to the framing place and started buying glass on both side frames.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we can hang them up on the wall here so that we can kind of look at this side, like we'll put a hinge on it. So we can check out the one side and then flip it over and check out the back side.
Yeah, that's cool.
It'll be inverted. It'll be upside down. We'll just have to fucking deal with it.
That way you can look at the
Poor
skirts.
flip.
It's just like those pens you turn over. And
one of my favorite things that's in there, though, is it's a go see your local Triumph dealer. It's typed out. It's like a letter to a consumer, like an actual typed out letter. Wow. And it says, go see the fine folks at Sills Motorcycle Sales. Because this guy lived in the Heights. So he lived in the Heights, and here's a letter from 1965 from Triumph North America.
Wow.
Telling him about the 3 different motorcycles they sold that year, the 4 different motorcycles, and then telling him he should go to Sills and go take a look at the motorcycles. Wow. And it was really nice, and it was like a really nice letter.
You should show that to Pam.
I set it aside, so I'm going to go take it to her and let her see it. And then there's one of them that's a document that would have been sent to the dealer from Triumph with like a spares list that actually says
we sent a letter to this guy.
It actually says to Sills Motorcycle Sales with their pricing and everything else on it. I'm just going to give that to her because that's got their name on it and everything else. It's really cool. So I thought she'd like to have that. I thought Pam would like that. Yeah. Because she's been doing it forever.
She's it.
She is it. I mean, that's Sills.
She and Roger.
Yeah. That's it. So I'm so happy when I saw that. As soon as I opened it up, I was like, we got to go give this to Pam. And so, I mean, I don't know how much of that shit floats around, but this stuff was all perfectly, the guy had everything stored in files. So the stuff wasn't even faded. It was like.
You should take a photo for yourself just for posterity.
Yeah, just for fun. But I'm keeping the Honda stuff because like the one of them has like 13 reasons to buy a Honda and it's 1965. So there's no black bomber. Okay. So there isn't a black bomber in it. So it goes up to CB350 and stops.
Yeah.
And then the 66 one, it has the black bomber. Oh, so it's 14 reasons to buy a Honda.
Yeah.
And so it has like all the small, you would have never guessed that there were so many fucking versions of a Cub.
Oh, really?
In 65.
Oh, yeah, no.
There were like
100.
No, they're
101,
insane.
102.
Oh, yeah.
92. Yeah. There was like, I couldn't.
One had blinkers.
Yep.
One
didn't have
I have
blinkers. Up there. Yeah.
One had
Oh, it was crazy. Like when you consider what Honda is today.
Yeah.
Honda is today. In 1965, their entire inventory of bikes they had to sell you did not go above 350 cc's. Mm-hmm. And a solid 8 or 9 of them were under 100 cc's.
And I have a 65 Cub.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to love this. When you see this advertisement that is like folded out many ways, it's so funny because today Honda is 9,000 things.
Yeah.
Right? Today Honda is airplanes, Honda is everything. But in 1965, in this country, Honda was literally 13 things. And 9 of them were almost the exact same thing. So
that's 20 years after.
Yeah. 20 that you're right. That's 20 years after they were leveled.
They are leveled. Yeah.
They were leveled.
So, hey.
And it's after 20 years after when their emperor they didn't want to export one item out of that country. They didn't want to do commerce with, God forbid, an American.
And it's 10 years after Pops Honda copied NSU for literally everything did it horribly.
Well, this whole like imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? The motorcycle industry has been rich with that from day one.
What if we took an NSU and made it horrible? And that's how Honda started. And then they realized it was horrible and then fixed it.
When you just got done putting your whole country back together.
Oh yeah.
Somebody just accidentally dropped 2 nuclear bombs on
oops.
it. And you're like, we got to get to work.
We got to make something.
We got to make something. And that's exactly
other than wind up toys.
Right. Yeah. We got to make something. And stamped steel toys aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an excellent point. And to that end, a bicycle with a bit of a motor on it is fucking genius. I mean, we all know everybody sitting at this table.
Yeah.
The difference between a bicycle and a bicycle with a bit of a motor on it.
Yep.
For each one of us was kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like that second we went from like all of the other friends hoofing it up that one hill in town and dying to you being like, check this out. Yeah. And you're like cranking out that 0.8 horsepower. Yeah. But you're flying up the hill compared to them.
Or you're doing your, like I did
newspapers.
My newspapers with that. So.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I had plenty of shit boxes, but that first time I had a motorized shit box.
Dude, remember the first time you saw or built or got a mini bike? Oh.
I was joking, but because we garbage picked everything in my neighborhood. Yeah. So the trick was you'd always have to wait until somebody threw away a riding tractor, like a lawnmower. Yeah. And somebody threw away a lawnmower.
Horizontal.
And then you had to the next step was always going to be like, okay, who's going to find a motor? Yeah. And you'd have that shit that had those janky L-shaped axles and stuff that were just like casters. You didn't care. You're going down the street in front of everybody's house at 20 miles an hour. Just dying.
But then the competition was between the Briggs guys and the Tecumseh guys.
No, we were happy to have any goddamn thing. Yeah. If it had primary compression, we're like, okay, we can work with this. Yeah.
But it was weird because even in the 70s and early 80s, mini bikes were already old. Like you know what I mean? You'd get one from somebody for $20. It was and it was already faded white patina out
1982. The ass. Everything we garbage picked was 1972
or 52 or whatever.
Worse yet. Yeah, exactly. That's true.
And this is how you build Cushman guys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that never happened. We never garbage picked those.
Well, no, because all the old Cushman guys would never ever let him
just
go.
Had to be a point though where the Cushman guys were 20 and wanted to have sex,
right?
And the thing sat in the garage for 10 years or 15 years. You'd think that there would have been,
but they're Cushman guys and they've never had sex.
Have you noticed after COVID though, Cushmans are worth $9 now?
Yeah, no, the bottom's dropping out.
Into them are gone.
The bottom's dropping out
because it turns out you can't cremate a Cushman.
They're
pass those on to the next generation.
They're getting cheap enough that I'm almost ready to buy one.
I won't buy. I've had a couple of Cushmans over the years, and I don't like to admit that to anybody. All right, so that's cool. Well, that's about it. Anybody else got anything? That's fucking podcast, man.
Yeah, I think that was a fat
one. Yeah, that's okay.
There's no John to play us out.
There isn't John to play us out.
We have Chris Smith with a joke or no?
No jokes. Yeah, I can say because John's not in the room, the energy's off.
See. The problem is I still haven't seen a LeBron thing, so I can't go. I'm bringing my talents to Cleveland.
Wait.
I can't do it.
I don't know what that is.
That's a LeBron thing.
Again, LeBron thing.
Don't worry about it.
I was told, I have to do this whole thing where I'm moving to Cleveland.
You're fine. That's great. It's that LeBron shit that gets you into trouble.
Right.
That's that crap. Then you become the Deshaun Watson type character where you're like, they did what to get him there?
Right.
And then what?
Why
and then he did what?
Another massage.
One more massage.
What the hell? Wait.
No.
Oh, crap. I got to become a Browns fan, don't I?
No, you don't. No.
I don't?
I'm 53 years old. I'm still not a fan.
Still not a Browns fan? Okay. I don't know. This is not required.
A fan of no sports whatsoever. You don't.
I kind of felt bad. I was in New Orleans, so I kind of felt bad for the Saints. We had a couple of good years. I felt really bad for them.
Full of people.
Okay.
That don't
give a shit about the Browns.
The sports.
Sports ball.
And there was a thing that happened many years ago where our team got moved. And you know what? There's a whole lot of people that. Ever since that happened,
was the whole Ravens.
Ever since that happened, they said, that's fine. Okay, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
Because there's that thing about there's identity.
I'm still
and
happy.
Then there's trademarks.
I'm still a little upset that I missed the what was the
lingerie league?
No. Well, now I'm upset that I missed the lingerie league. Why are you holding out on me?
They played harder than the Browns. They were better,
so to speak.
Well, I mean, so do the fans.
Renee asked me the other day. She's like, I watched a football game. It lasted 4 hours. And I was like, yeah, isn't media like commercial marketing and stuff? Isn't that wild that it can take a game that takes 1 hour to play and turn it into a 4 hour event? And I was like, that's...
I'll admit the only reason I go to football games is the charcuterie, so...
But it's again, if you're going to a football game for the charcuterie, something has happened strange to football, right? Because you're there for 4 hours. They have to feed you.
Right.
Right. Oh, my God. All right, that's it. If you haven't signed up for AMA Vintage Days yet, get off the pot and sign up for AMA Vintage Days. I know we kind of, you might think we're harping on you, but it is that fucking good. So you do need to do that. Get your spot set up. If you are relying on camping,
if you're listening, just tell us when you're coming. We'll get the limo.
You have got to. I have it on very good authority this year that campsites are going to be tough. They had to learn a lesson last year. I don't know if you guys are aware, but last year, a lot of the guys that showed up Friday night could not get in to get campsites. Okay. So a lot of guys that showed up after hours of darkness, once the sun went down, they literally stopped and they put a moratorium on it and said, nobody else is coming into the campsite. And some of our folks had to literally camp out on the road and sleep out on the road on Friday night. Then the staff went around Saturday morning and looked at the things and tightened it up again because people were just sprawling, right? People were just all over the place. So they're
Do we know any of those people?
We paid for those spots.
Yeah, we measured it out.
It's like a New York subway. It's manspreading.
We did.
We really actually, to be 100% honest.
Yeah,
we actually had 2 more spots than we actually
didn't
took
use.
up.
That's true. We had 2 spots that we didn't even touch.
Right.
But the reason I'm saying this is I have it from people that work there that have said that last year the campsite overflow situation was so bad that this year they're doing the swap meet spots. They're doing a very organized swap meet spot. So all that area where we had our trucks parked by the swap meet, very close to where our booths are, that is going to be the overflow camping for only $75 a night instead of the big camper fee money, right? Because there's no hookups and shit in the campsite. You're not getting any great privileges. But if you're going to be self-contained anyway, you might want to look into doing the swap meet spots because it's only $75. It's for the whole weekend and it's $75. You won't be camping in the giant Campapalooza, but that might be better for you if you like quiet. Because if you actually want to sleep, right? Yeah?
I've never had a problem sleeping.
Really?
Well,
I don't know if that's considered sleep.
I was going to say, with 17 cocktails in you, sleep comes on pretty easy.
That's what I'm saying. Never had a problem.
But if you got 7 or 8 children with you,
yeah, no, you're probably not.
They're probably not going to sleep.
Dynamite going off behind the fence.
Here's the trick: is for $75, half the price of a camper spot. Get over in that swap meet spot because that swap meet spot is going to be deadly quiet because they do not allow any shenanigans over there.
Now with 7 or 8 children, it's not going to be quiet.
Yeah, but we've seen how that swap meet area, right? They patrol that real heavily, whereas they let things go crazy over in Louisville Corner.
Yeah.
Well, if you try to light off a sparkler over in the swap meet area, they're shutting you down right quick in a hurry.
You got to be cool though. But a Second Life flight, you got to mellow out a little bit down in there.
Well, yeah, okay, and that's speaking to what I'm talking about is that sort of overpopulation that may have led to, blunt force trauma. Yeah, where your golf cart and my camper or my French motorcycle and your camper can't both share the same space at the same time. Yeah, maybe it's a little crowded. And so they're going to work on that this year. So it is a good idea if you're planning on camping, don't wait until the last minute to get your spot because there is a chance they're going to sell out.
I have to remind
you got
3 weeks.
Is that it?
To Morocco.
Oh, man. How long are you going to be gone?
Gone 17 days.
17 fucking days.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Damn. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Bring me back some couscous.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to make it for you and leave it on your front doorstep before I leave.
Some of my personal batch of couscous.
Yeah, that's it.
Dude, that's going to be a great trip. That is going to be absolutely epic.
Casablanca. Fez.
You got to do Fez. You got to go to Fez, and you got to wear a Fez when you're in Fez.
Marrakesh.
I would buy a Fez in Fez to wear it in Fez.
Pack of Fez.
A pack of Fez. My God, that's so great. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Anyway, for Sleepy, I wanted to do this on our way out. Dave King, Patreon member, pays his dues.
Sorry.
And adds to the veracity of our podcast by saying, "Ahoy, ye scurvy dogs. Might have already heard about this, but I thought I'd share in case you haven't. Divers located the wreck of the Westmoreland and found several casks of whiskey. The ship sank in 1854, and the whiskey is estimated to be worth millions. I thought Sleepy might be tickled pink since he's always going on about that boat whiskey.
Yeah, that's the ultimate boat
It's only
whiskey.
a little salty.
It's a little salty.
Don't worry. Just like the Shackletons, they'll copy it and it'll be pushed out.
1854.
Yeah,
it's in wood castle.
What is that, a bridge?
Is that a bridge? No, I think that's the bridge. It kind of, it looks like a fucking ferry.
Is that a rendering or is that the actual fucking boat?
I think that's a rendering.
That might be a rendering.
That's an artist's renditional.
There might be some seepage into those casks.
Well, as soon as they get the casks out and they'll replicate, just like Shackletons, they'll replicate it.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
In the winter of 1854, a passenger ship carrying 280 barrels of whiskey and a stash of gold sank in Lake Michigan. For decades, the ship, as well as its treasure, lay hidden on the bottom of the lake, nearly 200 feet deep. Now, a team of divers has located the wreck and the plans to recover the ship's cargo, which may be worth over $17 million. Or it may be a couple of pieces of gold and some fucked up old whiskey casks that are mostly lake water.
Yeah. They get down there. There's a whole generation of fish that are alcoholics.
Just hanging out by the cask. They're all swimming sideways.
No. It's not just that.
They all look like flounders.
There's going to be an Alcoholics Anonymous group of fish.
Yeah. There's going to be fucking ladies with signs protesting.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's a 12 smelt program.
And on that, my friends, ride fast and take chances. KROMKE saved us on that.
That's it. Best line of the night.